Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's broadcast of our fifth and final week of the Risen Divine League. My name is Gordo. I am joined tonight by Go for Eno, and we have got ourselves quite the fun matchup to round out our Risen Divine League regular season. TA Black going to be taking on Michigan Esports here. Both of these teams sitting up at the top of the standings and looking to secure themselves a higher seed coming into our postseason.
Both have secured their playoff spot. It's just a matter of seeding at this point. So a little bit of a bragging rights match technically here, but there are still some decent consequences to keep our eyes out. That being said, we should be hopping into the champion select here in a jiffy.
Yeah, gonna be not too long of a break here. Both of these teams kind of sitting at technically undefeated. Michigan sitting at very officially undefeated. They are at 4-0 coming into our Week 5 matchup. The side of TA Black, they are 3-1, but their one loss was a forfeit. So they haven't
Yeah.
lost on the Rift. They've lost off the Rift by not showing up to the Rift, and that makes these teams pretty even, and that makes tonight's matchup really exciting to see if they can hand Humish their first loss, or if TA is going to drop down to 3-2.
hmm And I want some close games tonight. Definitely want to see Team Ambition Black show. That was just a bit of a scheduling fluke when they had to forfeit a game. Uh, That's always a good sign if you're able to like forfeit one of 5 games and you're still guaranteed a spot in those playoffs. You know,
And
you're
they're already
vibing.
there. I mean, you can't drop below top. It's an 8-team bracket for playoffs. 4 teams make it from each group. And there are few enough teams. There are 2 teams who have played 4 games who have less than 2 wins. So there's no
Yeah.
way for TA Black to drop out of that playoffs contention. Uh, they will be they're not locked top 2 because Lotus and Cupid Esports could still tie them at 3-2 and make some stuff happen, but they are guaranteed playoffs. So both of these teams will be making appearances in the postseason. The question is just where and what seeding they'll be able to secure themselves based on tonight's performance.
hmm Yep. And if there's any tiebreaker shenanigans, it should be sorted out pretty automatically by the rulebook. Usually TAs don't want to have to deal with extra matches that are unexpected, so they have a lot of tiebreaker rules in place to like just kind of dictate like, yeah, you're the one who won. Go get
Yeah.
him,
So
champ.
there is. I did go and look into this. So we watched TA Black beat Lotus back in week 2, the last time we were on this stream, Go Verino. But they did forfeit their match to Cupid Esports. So if Cupid can win tonight, then they should have the head-to-head over TA Black, and they will move up into that second seed spot. Assuming that TA Black also loses, TA winning will secure them the first seed. TA losing will get them second or third seed, depending on how Cupid does tonight. Michigan will get first if they win, of course, with a 5-0 record. They will drop to second with a 4-1 record if they lose to TA Black. And with that said, we're going to get into the picks and bans here, starting off with a Fiora ban directed right towards Aura Seeds.
Yep. Fiora, I mean, has been popping up much more in the recent few patches. Ever since the durability patch, since you're able to scale up that much more easily, since you're able to have a lot more leeway as this champion when it comes to just surviving lanes that you shouldn't. Um, you know, definitely been on the up and up. So taking that off the table does make sense. And now we have the double, maybe triple support band coming out from Mitch. I know they're U Michigan, but saying Mitch is a little more fun.
Yeah, directed towards Turk there, who has more games on Nautilus than anything else, at least over in his split in the Aegis Vanguard League, where this TA Black roster is also playing. They're going to direct it towards the Enchanters, which are also champions that he's shown in his pool. The lock-in here, though, is going to be Lilia. It's a strong flex pick between top lane and jungle. Most folks taking it jungle these days, and I know TA Black did pretty recently. They've been playing a fair bit of that Lilia for themselves.
And the Wukong does come out, which is interesting because the Lilia is known as a counter to the Wukong jungle. Since you do out clear, you're able to just kind of maneuver around the Wukong and really dodge out on those really extended trades where Wukong's in your face that the Wukong does want to do. Also, interestingly enough, with the patch 11.12b, I think it is, the most recent like quick patch, Wukong Jungle did actually get a significant nerf to his clear speed with the bonus damage lowered against monsters. So that is going to come into play here if this is a Wukong Jungle Gordo.
Yeah, it absolutely will. I mean, it's going to exacerbate that jungle speed difference that even when Wukong was at his strongest, made folks prefer Lilia as one of those counter picks. And then also in 2v2s, 1v1s, these kinds of scenarios, Lilia also gets a little bit of an advantage by being a magic damage dealer up against Wukong, whose stone skin gives him armor, but not as much MR. Does look like the Ashe Nautilus bot lane is going to come through for Turk and All for One. I haven't seen a resurgence of Ashe support lately, but this time around it is going to be that Ashe in the AD position.
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting because basically the Ashe support that's been so prominent is the copy and pasting of the ARAM build of Ashe that everybody I want to say knows and loves, more like knows and like really wishes Riot would just remove from the game. Working now a lot better on Summoner's Rift, but like you said, it is going to be that AD carry position. Will function pretty well against the Zeri because you can get the slow train going on the Zeri who really wants to kite out with your volleys with just your natural slow from your auto attacks. So if you're able to keep the Zeri locked down, it makes things a lot more easier with dealing with good old scary Zeri.
Yeah, it definitely does. And the Nautilus has been a pick that a lot of folks have favored into the Zeri since release for a lot of that reason as well. He's got selection based CC with that ultimate, can chain that into a longer CC. And that means that Zeri doesn't get the opportunity to use that big movement speed boost that she gets. Also doesn't get the opportunity to parkour herself over a gigantic wall and skate a million miles away from where the fight's taking place. So both of these champions going to do a really solid job of locking that marksman down as the solo lane bans are going to start to come through. BMD's Gangplank again taken away, although I am seeing a little update to our player names there. Does look like I Am Sam is playing instead today.
Okay. I'll see that when I'm able to reconnect to the parsec. But yeah, that is an update for sure. And it's a big one at that. Oh.
Yeah.
Sounds
Got
like I
yourself
got
back
in.
in there.
Oh, we in.
He's working his way into the parsec there as
Oh no,
Instance now
I'm here. I've
hovering
made my
on this
boots on in.
Corki will lock it on in for Michigan. So they are going to blind pick the Bombardier in the mid lane. We'll have plenty of counter pick options. The Victor, one that really comes to mind for Mark Boots right off the bat. But Corki, a very safe blind pick, will be able to farm it out. Will have a huge impact in team fights later on. And Michigan Esports have themselves the bones of a pretty solid team fight composition here with a lot of great targets for Renata's bailout.
Mm-hmm. You have a classic just double carry in the back here. You have your generic fighter jungler here. The one concern is that it does mean that the Ninja Tabi slash quote unquote plated steel caps has a lot of effectiveness against this Michigan esports comp so far. We've been seeing a lot more Warden's Mail just creep up in the meta as more and more people realize, hey, this is a pretty high value just component item I can get. And against Corki, Zeri, and Wukong, you'll be appreciating that as Team Ambition Black here, looking to lock in a lot of skirmish, a lot of pick. You have Nautilus Ashe to set up these picks, and then you just have a Camille and Silas to potentially finish off anybody who happens to get CC'd here, Gordo.
Yeah, so a lot more pick focus for TA Black and a lot of flexible ways to be able to do so. A nice suite of ultimates to steal away for the Silas as well. I don't know if anybody else has gotten to play around with Silas into Wukong lately or had the misfortune to play against Silas as Wukong. But it gets real unfortunate real quick when he starts stealing away your Cyclone and gets both casts of it. So quite a good suite of ultimates here for Silas. Even the Aatrox ultimate, you know, he gets a decent amount of value out of. So he gets all that benefits of that additional AD as well as the additional healing, which is something that Silas is already doing anyways. He also likes to have access to that hostile takeover, of course, and even some Corki rockets can make some good use.
Mm-hmm. Just all around a flexible pick in the Silas for, I assume, Mark Boots in the mid lane. Does go well into that core case since you have that insane magic resist growth. Silas, a quote unquote anti mage, but it is Silas is a bit of a mess when it comes to balance in terms of Riot and what the champion is designed to do versus what he actually does. But that aside, gonna match well into the Corki. Even though the Corki should have wave clear advantage early on, you can use your chains to potentially lock down that Corki. And if the Corki has to use the Valkyrie, you basically force that Corki to go Oomin lane, which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it does cost you a whole bunch early on. Then we're also going to see this Camille into Aatrox matchup. Camille's kind of one of those long, old standing counter picks to Aatrox. A lot of folks enjoy the Camille side of that matchup. Is going to be what Oraces chooses to take into I Am Sam's Camille, though. Wants to actually have access to that darkened blade there up in the top lane. Curious there, I would say. I think it's going to give them not really a winning side lane, but will be able to survive just fine against the Camille and will be kind of an additional frontliner to dish out some damage, dish out some CC, and support the rest of the team in these team fights. But does feel a little bit out of place with a lot of this team composition. Feels like they really did kind of want some kind of strong engage force here.
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting, like you said, but that's one of those things where it's like, it might shape up differently in game. You never know, Gordo. A lot of things
Sure.
just kind of defy expectations, to say the least.
Yeah, if this is a strong comfort pick for Orsi's and he feels like he can win the matchup up against I Am Sam, then of course all that goes out the window. Then Aatrox
Mhm.
gets to be strong, and then he'll win the side lane for a considerably longer portion of time while the Camille is still waiting to scale up. So I'm curious to see if Duwan is going to try to path his way towards topside to really make that difference happen. The Zeri Renata not going to be the strongest of laners early on. I don't think they should have the push up against Ashe Nautilus. Those volleys they really do a number on the minion wave. They can hit quite a few minions all at once, and they also give her a really strong poke early on to push in this lane of the Zeri Renata. So not a lot to focus on for Duan there, unless he wants to try to counter gank for somebody like Castle. But Castle's probably going to be power farming early on anyway. So I would expect to see Duan make his way towards the top lane, all else being held equal, and maybe trying to swing this matchup for his top laner Aatrox there.
Yep, definitely something you can do. The main thing is that do on pre-6, you don't have that Cyclone. That can always be an issue when it comes to locking down people, especially like this Camille who can easily dash out those infernal chains with the hook shot. Um, And on the other side, like you said, Castle probably going to be power farming. Castle does at the very least have CC in all their lanes for them to try and get something going, even pre-6, pre-lilting Lullaby here. So you can go for ganks as this Lilia. We'll have to see, because I'm looking at Team Ambition Black, and it's more so about the solo laners here to me, Gordo. You'll want to get them going. Then you might have a strong 1-3-1 composition here, or just 1-4-0.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to see nerfed Wukong in play too much, but
Mhm.
I would really be interested to see how much better this Lilia counter pick has gotten. We talked about it when it got locked in super early in the draft, and Lilia hasn't really been touched, since she got the last round of buffs that really made her into a little bit more of a force. And she already had a good matchup into the Wukong. So it really feels like she should be able to speed right past him, clear way faster, maybe even get opportunities to move into the other jungle if she can get some priority from some of her lanes, like that bot lane that we talked about, and get them off to an early lead for the side of TA Black. They should also be able to carry that lead through. I mean, there's some strong scalers on their team. This Camille is going to be the strongest force in a side lane later on. The Corki is something to worry about, but will depend on how they're going to be able to get onto that one. But I really like how this Lilia looks up against this team comp, and want to see what kind of havoc it can wreak and if Castle can build himself an early advantage from that jungle counter pick.
Mhm. It is going to come down to this Lilia a lot in team fights, like you said here for our Team Ambition Black, because you want to get the massive sleep to just kind of stop the chain, whether it's the Aatrox ulti, just timing out as much of that as you can, whether it's the Wukong Cyclone, just timing out potentially a second charge of that, the Zeri ultimate, just timing out that. Like, a lot of just timeouts here is a bit of the goal here, and Castle probably going to be opting to try and build at least a little bit bulkier this game. Um, Not full on tank, mind you, but I'm definitely expecting a Zonius at the very least very early on for this Lilia.
Yeah, definitely what I'm going to be on the lookout too. We will find out in just a few short moments. We're going to throw it to a quick break here while we get loaded onto the Rift for game number 1. We'll see you back in just a few short moments as we find out who's going to take an early lead in this best of 3. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Risen Divine League. We are here with our last week of the regular season as TA Black takes on Michigan Esports. We're going to see who is going to end up topping their group and taking that first seed coming into the playoffs.
Oh my lord. Alright. That was me getting randomly blasted by my phone. But hey, like you said, it is a battle of first here. Who gets to be top dog? Who gets to be sitting on top of the throne in this group? We'll find out just quite yet. Everybody understandably taking a bit of a chill approach to this level 1. Neither of these teams really looking to have like the friskiest of level 1s here, so to speak. And what I'm really looking for is mostly like the early jungle gangs. Where are these junglers going to prioritize? We kind of highlighted it in Champion Select here at Gordo, where both Do1 and Castle, 7 to an extent, can make some pretty big influences here. They got set up in their lanes. They have some lanes that can feasibly snowball pretty nicely. Just a matter of, are they able to get it off, and where do they want to do that?
Yeah, so both starting on this bottom side, we'll be pathing up towards top. Maybe get to see a little bit of a brawl over that first Scuttle Crab. But that's also the first place where Castle could get himself out to an early lead. If he can hit that level 4 and show up to the Scuttle Crab before Do1 can, then that'll give him the first little advantage of the lane. That's going to be a nice hook of the bot lane from Turk, taking instant down to about half HP. And just like that, an early bot lane lead for TA Black. So they've got themselves a little bit of a health chunk down out of the Zeri.
Already taking out the potion too, which is something very important to note, as just Adorn's blade this early on is, in all honesty, kind of just piss off for sustain. Like, you are not going to be recovering of that health anytime soon here, as instant. And even without that hook landing, there still would have been a lot of pressure onto this zeroing the bot lane from those volleys. But hey, speaking of hooks landing,
Yeah, gonna manage to land in that bottom side. Soma an instant. Get a little bit of response for what occurred earlier on from landing that handshake, but health bar staying pretty close. We do see that the 3 potions start for All for One. One's already been consumed, but has 2 more left in the tank. Just keep chugging through and getting up to higher and higher health totals as
ooh,
Maximos.
okay.
It's fallen very low in the mid lane. Looks like Mark Boots found himself pretty solid trade there, and now as long as he can keep his wits about him, should be able to carry that lead through. Duan now showing up just a second too late to be able to contest that blue buff. Castle should be able to walk his way out of there. Already has a whole bunch of movement speed stacks, and
Doesn't
now the
have to worry
collapse
about
is
the
coming
collapse
through from the TA Black laners. Mark Boots on the way, can't get responded to by Maximos. Duan's gonna get collapsed on here, tries to smite the Scuttle Crab to stay alive, but will drop to Mark Boots. Didn't have his mid laner there, will end up giving up first blood as a result.
Because Maximos just had a base there. They're so low from that mid lane trade. And, okay, maybe not over yet. Does force out the flash here with that hook shot, though. So, over Orikis. Orikis. Gonna be safe from that whole dealio.
Yeah, but I mean, that's another win for TA Black, though. They find their way up into the top lane. They blow another summoner spell. They are pretty firmly now winning up on that top side. Maximos barely avoiding another set of chains coming through from the Silas. The fight's breaking out in the bottom lane again. Turk out of mana, but is still absorbing some of those burst fires anyway. All for One just trying to snag himself whatever CS he can.
Okay, that hawk shot, I believe, did not spot Duan. That was kind of what's catching my attention there. But the bot lane has equalized here, even though that the health advantage is still an all for one in Turk's favor here. They do not have the push advantage. That is the double range versus single range conundrum in this bot lane. So Instant and Soma gonna be able to get their backs off here. Gonna be able to get some nice little bit of sustain here, or okay, bit of damage for Instant. I was kind of expecting the Bam Scepter here, just so you can recharge up from those trades that much more easily. Not gonna be the case.
I want to call out here, Mark Boots also, with that first blood gold, still has not recalled. He's keeping up the pressure in the mid lane anyway. Once he gets that recall off and can teleport back to lane, likely with a lost chapter, maybe even a little bit of additional on top of it, it is going to be really tough for Maximos to be able to survive well in this lane. I think Mark Boots really wants to make the most out of his double buffs, so he's not going back as a result, but he is going to be huge once he gets to actually spend some of this money, and he's going to catch Soma in the river, chunking him just a little bit. Not really the 100-0 Silas quite yet. Maybe with an Everfrost could do a little bit more, but for now is just going to intimidate Soma and watch him walk away.
It does force Soma to take the long way back to bot lane, so small little dub there here for the Silas. You don't really lose any CS for it, don't really lose any XP. But like you said, it's not the hugest deal. Everybody gets out just fine. See how it works out, though, because First Dragon is up on the Rift here, and we still haven't had a Mark Boots recall. I feel like Team Ambition Black, they really want to get this Silas to recall here. It's even pushed up in the mid lane, so if you're able to get that Lost Chapter before this First Dragon, it gives you a lot more forcing power, as you just have this one super strong Silas, Lost Chapter, versus a Tear of the Goddess here for Maximos. That is a huge difference if you do fight over that dragon.
Yeah, definitely will be, and it looks like they are going to get that recall they were looking for. The wave is reset. Actually, Mark Boots, though, he knows he's got the TP back, so he just wants to punish Maximos as much as possible. Will crash one more wave, knowing that the Corki has gone in for that recall, which is going to be another little bit of extra advantage that he can eke out over that Corki. Meanwhile, I Am Sam, gotta be careful here. He knows that Duan's in that bush, though, has caught him with a ward that he wisely placed earlier on, and is now just basically wasting Duan's time. I mean, and now is even going to try to bait for a little bit more as Castle is coming on in for the gank. The lockdown onto Orsies, he's going to drop before the ultimate can do anything, and now Duan getting chased down across the top lane will be able to make his way back under the turret, but this is not worse than time wasted. This is time wasted and a disadvantage as Orsies is going to drop in top.
And that kill goes to this Camille here for I Am Sam. And we know that Camille can take over games just a little bit if he gets snowballing. A good hook here in the bot lane. There shouldn't be a kill. This is an important thing about Ashe with an all-in support in the bot lane, especially pre-6. You really just do not have a ton of kill threat. Ashe does not have a lot of burst. you have to stack up your Ranger's focus to get that Q off. You really only have the volley for a little bit of burst. And that is kind of noticeable. That's what we're seeing when these hooks lands. That instant isn't really in threat. It's more of instant is in threat of taking a bunch of damage and then maybe not really being able to contest CS.
Yeah, and Turk with the throwback tech is taking Aftershock this game, so he just absorbs all that damage. You know, we see a lot of Glacial Augment tanks going in Season 12 and ending up losing all of their HP, as, you know, you don't really get that damage reduction that you used to get by taking the Aftershock in prior seasons. Turk has no such issues here.
Yep. Well, okay, bit of a gank in the bot lane. Cyclone available.
Nice attempt at a hook on the invisible Wukong. Doesn't end up landing. Turk going to have to flash away, but will be able to get enough distance. And now Duan's going to drop, get hit by the bailout, but will res just a little bit too late to do anything about it. Can't chase onto Turk anymore. 2 kills for none for TA Black in the bottom lane. And now Mark Boots collapsing in from the top side. Doesn't seem to find an opportunity, but they will be able to turn this into the first dragon.
And Duan going for that gank there is caught out, though. Before they're able to pop that Cyclone, that's why All For One able to flash away, able to just pop that Enchanted Crystal Arrow ulti there, lock down that Wukong, make sure you burst him before he comes on out. So Duan left being a sad little monkey. That results in 2 kills for Team Ambition Black, like you said, but also the first dragon of the game, which they will take. They do appreciate. They do appreciate.
They definitely do. Get started with the snowball early on. We can see the gold totals there. So much of this has gone into Castle. He and Mark Boots pretty much even in gold, both well ahead of their equivalents on the other team. Duan has fallen so far behind. It's kind of contesting with the support tiers. There's a dive at the bottom lane. Gonna end up being successful for Soma, but what can Castle get done on the other side? Castle will be able to take him out, puts him into the resurrection, will drop down. No execute opportunities available. And now what can Castle do against Instant? He's got so much gold. He's got so much movement speed. Instant gonna flash away, but he's just gonna get chased down anyway. There's nowhere for Zeri to go. Double kill to Castle in the bottom lane, and that gold lead has just gotten way bigger. Meanwhile, Turk moving into the top lane a little bit too late, though. I Am Sam gonna drop to Orisies in the 1 versus 1. And now Orisies will still be backing away. Duan not there in time to collapse onto Turk.
Keep in mind, I Am Sam also committed Ignite in that exchange up here, so that's a big deal.
Yeah, Mark Boots finds an angle in the mid lane. Will just have to back away. Takes a little bit of damage. Duan's going to be able to secure himself this Scuttler as well. Turk is in the area, but without Castle, there's not too much they can do. They're still getting out-pressured anyways. Mark Boots now, knowing the Castle is approaching, wants to be a little bit more aggressive, wants to maybe think about this Rift Herald. Doesn't know that Duan went in there, doesn't really know where he went afterwards. And that actually might give them the opportunity to start this one up.
And, well, we have a bit of a lull here. Interesting thing to note. First off, it's... Okay, let's look at the replay here, because this is just brutality. You go for the dive. Yes, you get that. You're eating up turret damage. You eat up the Lilting Lullaby. And, yeah, there's nothing you can really do. You're not outrunning Aurelia.
Just a little bit too quick on the deer here. Here's the instant. Committing the flash still isn't going to be able to get away, as Castle's just way too quick on his feet.
Yep. Oh. Alright, we have a bit of a dive. It is spotted out in the top lane, though. Package is available. Maximus would have to overcommit way too hard for this, though, if they were to just start off this fight. What they can do right now, if they really want to, thing is there's a turret in the way, and there's a bit of a fight.
Duan's totally stuck, too. He's going to end up dropping down. Now here comes Maximus with the package and trying to disengage, but they're diving right past it, right onto Orisies. He's going to get taken into the Resurrect. He will drop Bailout. No. Castle falling lower and lower, trying to sustain on through. Maximus looking for the last rocket, looking to take him out. Can't land it, though, as Turk's going to pick it up with the Ignite. Hey. And I Am Sam chases Soma down. That's 4 for 0, Team Ambition Black.
And it all started off with that Warp just kind of catching out that dive coming on in. You see U of Michigan try and just go in for that. They're committing for the turret. Okay, we got Rift Herald. We have all these members up here. This should be clear cut. But the fact that you have Duan melee range under that tower, that's such an easy dredge line to just huck on out. Hook this Wukong, start pelting away, take down one member. Even with the package in the way, we saw Team Ambition Black just kind of waited out. That really nice arrow here in the bot lane from downtown from All For One, able to help them pick up another kill. And now 10-2 is the scoreline here for Team Ambition Black. They're feeling pretty good.
They certainly are. Now, a minute to go on the next dragon. You gotta believe that's gonna be the next target. All For One is farming on his own in the bottom lane. Has gone for the early Umbral Glaive. So is looking to clear out those wards. You know, maybe taking a page out of the Support Ash's book. Because I Am Sam about to get solo killed at the top lane. Gets the lockdown onto Orisi's, though. There's the Ignite, and he will be able to pull it off in the 1v1. The shield for physical damage comes up huge there and saves Sam's life.
Never underestimate that. Maybe there's a return kill here. If we see the funky chunky monkey business. Nope, no funny monkey business to be had. So just a 1-for-0.
Yeah, but Duan spotted on the bottom side, given the all clear for TA Black to go in for this dive on the bottom side, getting some nice poke in there. There's going to be the sleep coming through from Castle. He is going to have to get himself out of there, decides he is going to sacrifice himself, but now he's got the stasis to block the aggro and will be able to stay alive. 2 more kills for nothing for TA Black, and now they are just ripping through this bottom lane turret.
Hello, my Discord crashed.
All right, it's now gonna be Sam getting engaged on once again. Duan going to be dropping down, but will get the shutdown. Nice kill there on the I Am Sam. Good amount of gold back into the monkey, but meanwhile, Castle on the bottom side has the whole squad with him. Will be able to start and pick up Dragon number 2.
Dragon number 2. Got some more kills in the bag here, gold lead. Starting to snowball further and further here. Yep, there's the 15-minute as soon as they can start. Objective bounties coming up. Of course, gold lead wasn't that big. It just happened to get big enough during that whole little scuffle, that little zone, to activate them.
And just in time for Maximus to get himself a fat turret bounty, as well as first brick gold. So that's a whole boatload of gold right into Michigan right there, but Orsi's getting engaged onto the mid lane, will be taking plenty of damage, will be dropping lower and lower from Mark Boots and Castle. Mark Boots goes on a killing spree as he finishes that one off. Soma is there, only to say goodbye to his friend. He's got to back away under that turret right away.
Nothing you can really do. The Ash ulti lands, you kind of just eat up all that CC, and you're like, yep, this is my life now. Even with the Mertrits. And I assume Legend Tenacity. Sometimes all the tenacity in the world is just not enough to get you out of those situations, as we kind of see there. I'm Sam, looking, has the hook shot, has the backup here.
Gets onto Instant there. Nowhere for Instant to go. He's just going to get taken out in the 1v1. Turk and Mark Boots know that it's time to just focus down onto Soma. They'll take him out. No ultimates used, no flashes used, no nothing. 2-for-0. Bottom lane, TA Black continue to stamp their mark on this game. They continue to build out a bigger and bigger lead as we're going to dip into a replay. Watch this dive again.
Yeah, nothing much you can really do about the whole crew's here. And you're just like, yep. That's a 4v2 when our bot lane's already a little bit on the slump here. I have Castle caught out.
Ooh, that's a nice enchanted crystal arrow, though, across the map. Locks down on a Maximos, prevents him from going any further. Almost dies to the burn there from the Dream Dust. Will not end up dropping, but now it's got to be careful. Very low, very vulnerable. Duan moving into the jungle, finds Castle, but finds a little bit more than Castle as well, and has to back away as All For One's damage might be a little bit too much for the monkey. Soma is here for the bailout, as Orisi's as well, so they will be moving on away. Turk leading the charge into the river, going to land the hook on a Duan, but the wall saves him, prevents him from being pulled back too far away, should be able to get himself over the wall. Kind of fakes the clone for a second, and then uses the real one to get his way out. Mark Boots arriving for the collapse, but Michigan, they have already booked it. They are out into safety.
May outie. And Team Ambition Black, a little sequestered off here, a little pincered. They are at least as a group, but they are getting flanked.
Yeah, they're just going to go for the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, full engage onto Orisi's. Here comes the package to bail them out, and that's going to be a nice hostile takeover from Soma to turn around the fight, and now Michigan have their opportunity. I Am Sam fighting his way out, will be able to finish off onto Orisi's, but is going to drop down, and it's a big shutdown for the Corki as well. Now Orisi's on the backside, finds his way on the rest of TA Black, and off of one terrible fight, it's all turned around. Michigan get the 5-for-1 ace, and can turn it into the Rift Herald.
That is brutal. I mean, they're fighting in a choke point. There's a package available. There's a hostile takeover available. The hostile takeover comes out. You're forced to fight on top of the package. Burn. Yeah, you're gonna be losing that one. And Team Ambition Black, maybe getting a little too confident with their lead there. Still have a bit of a one, but that is a huge, huge team fight turnover.
Yeah, no, just great layered abilities from Maximos on top of Orsi's. Here's the replay. See, Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes through. It looks like it's a good engage, but there's the combo.
Yep. I mean, what are you gonna do about that? And the fact that this is a lethality Ashe is something to note here, because you're not really seeing a ton of damage coming out. It's more so All for One is just throwing out poke left and right. You don't have that consistent damage unless you have your Camille there. Oh, speaking of Camille, there's a Camille right there.
Yeah, no, finds her way up there. Says, he popped off in that last fight, but you're still nothing in the 1v1, especially not with the gold advantage that Sam has built up. Triforce completed, has the Tiamat as well. Will be able to work his way through Orsi's, despite the CS advantage that Aatrox has built up for himself. Now with the 5v4 on the map, Dragon coming up in 30 seconds. We'll see what TA Black can do. They can get another pick. They can find Maximos in his own blue side jungle. They can take him out, and they can put Maximos, or Mark Boots rather, right back in control.
And that's the strength of this Team Ambition Black comp. Like, they have so many ways to punish people even slightly mispositioned, since basically all their members can function as the pick champions for their team. Oh, speaking of picks.
Good lockdown on a Soma. Mark Boots taking a few too many turret shots, though. Maybe more than he would have liked. Turk now is getting locked down under the turret next. He's taking a lot of damage from that one, but is not one of the primary damage dealers. Will drop anyway. Duwan finishes off that kill. And now it's actually going to be a numbers advantage for the side of Michigan.
One's kind of caught out.
Yeah, Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes through, doesn't end up landing onto anybody. Soma's dropping lower and lower, though. An attempted force from Castle. The handshake, though, is perfect. Interrupts the W and prevents any more damage from coming through onto Soma. And now I am Sam in a very unfortunate situation. 1 versus 5, dives back in, gets shut down by Duwan. And Michigan have taken control once again in the 5 versus 5. Mark Boots here to help out his AD carry, trying to slow down Orsi's, but might just be a little bit too fast. Dodge onto the Darkened Blade, too far away for number 2. All for One trying to kite this out, almost gonna get pulled back in, will get a little bit of distance, but one more Darkened Blade finishes it off. Desyncs the death timer. Dragon goes over to Michigan. Mark Boots getting chased away. Castle gonna have to join him. And Michigan, they claim themselves a little bit more yet again, and they should be able to get themselves the gold lead for the first time this game.
And huge, huge turnaround there. Once again, it's Michigan winning these team fights here, Gordo. And they stop the potential soul stack here. It's going to be at least another about 10-ish minutes from now. Realistically speaking, good teleports.
The collapse in off of the TPs. There's going to be a sleep coming through onto 2 targets. Orsi's going to be the first one to drop. Double kill goes through to I Am Sam. Now the chase down onto Soma. No more flashes available, but is the scoot coming through from the Abscond Abduct enough? Triple kill comes through for I Am Sam, and make that 4 as Mark Boots finishes off Maximos. And now only Instant is left alive. And just like last time, Michigan, they win themselves a team fight, but TA Black, they claim themselves a whole bunch right off the backside.
No objectives here for Team Ambition Black to pick up. Aside from that Baron, which is quite literally across the map. By the time you get there, everybody in Michigan is going to be back up. So it's just a return of kills here. You're going to be able to get some nice turret damage as well. On this bot lane, you get that mid lane turret. Solidify yourselves a bit more map control here and take back some of your losses from that last fight. And we can see the replay of, just a good teleport. You got that home guard bonus. Double dash over the wall. Yep.
Great execution here. The 2-man sleep is huge. On to Instant. He has to blow the cleanse and just book it over the wall right away. That means leaving everybody else behind to get cleaned up by Mark Boots and I Am Sam. I Am Sam closes so much distance with the hookshot here.
Yeah, the hookshot is,
it has picture. Another kill onto Orsi's. He gets caught out once again. Will end up dropping there to I Am Sam and Mark Boots.
7 deaths on this Aatrox. Not a good look, bestie. But that's what happens. I mean, Orsi's did kind of get ganked a few times, and they are one of the frontliners for their team, so it's like, okay, it's understandable. You're also outscaled by the queen on the side lane, but it is still a rather terrible spot to be in. Oh, how much damage does that do? Okay, not enough.
No, not too much yet. Maybe not too much ever.
Once the Demonic Embrace is finished, it should be really obnoxious damage. I think that's what the Giant's Belt and Blasting Wand are building into here. Because they just kind of stack, and it feels a little dummy to go against, not gonna lie.
Does get a fair bit of poke damage out there. Not really anybody in range to go over the Lilting Lullaby engage either. But once that's available, it can be a much bigger deal.
Lord, okay. Had a little bit of a burp there. But that's okay. Just like how this game is okay. For both teams, really. I mean, yes, the gold lead is pretty decently in favor of Team Ambition Black, but we've seen the team fights are Michigan favored, and that kind of makes sense when you look at their team. You have all these team fighting champions, whereas Team Ambition Black, much more so about the picks and skirmishes and side lane split push shenanigans. But with this Baron up on the map and being the next big thing, it looks like we're just going to be seeing a team fight most likely.
Yeah, does it look like they're going to be trying to contest this one. I Am Sam is in the side lane up against Maximos. Doesn't have access to the teleport, so he's going to be at a numbers disadvantage in theory. We'll see what ends up happening. Mark Boots diving into the top side up against Orsi's, but is going to be outnumbered. Pops his own ultimate to try to go in for this fight, but in a 2 versus 1, just has to head for the hills. Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes through, but is nowhere nearby. Mark Boots trying to fight his way out, trying to sustain using the Kingslayer, but it's not going to work out. Shut down, goes through to Duan. Meanwhile, the TA Black, hey, there's a whole bunch of members on the top side. That means we can just run through mid, claim ourselves a whole boatload of turrets.
They do have both their carries here. Yep, that's the wave gone, so not going to be able to push anything else, and we can see the cavalry starting to arrive here, Gordo. The cam is zooming out, so you know there's a team fight coming.
Yeah, Turk getting pulled back in by the handshake, throws out the depth charge to try to slow them down, but he's going to end up dropping. Castle gets a good sleep onto Orsi's, but do they have the damage? Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes through. I Am Sam diving even deeper. Flash over the wall for Castle, but the damage just isn't there. They're getting torn apart by the 5-man squad of Michigan. There's going to be 2 more kills coming through. Instant flashes over the wall to try to fight all for one. These guys are just giving them back and forth. TA Black ends up getting one back, but they lose the fight yet again.
And TA Black, I gotta ask, why were they fighting that? Like, you're at a man disadvantage, your sport gets caught out, you're looking at a 3 versus 5 at best there, buddy, and as we see, the 3 versus 5 is not favored for you if you happen to be a team with 3. Well, it's gonna give over another dragon here to Michigan, and now it's all tied up in the Dragons buffs here. And Dragon Soul, not essentially huge win con here. Oof. And you would think that Team Ambition Black would have been able to win that fight much more better with their 6k gold lead, but the fact that they're just missing so many members due to deaths kind of adds up.
Yeah, it really does. It ends up meaning that the gold lead is really more in favor of Michigan. They got more members with gold on them, able to actually participate in the team fight. We can see how this breaks out. It starts to get a little bit close, and it really seems like they kind of bait themselves into it. They know that the hostile takeover is down, and Castle gets some good damage out, but they just can't finish.
Yeah, like, you can't get into the back line here. Your health bars are already pretty low. And why are we seeing so many members just flash in here? Like, you can just cut your losses and skedaddle here and not have to worry about this. Hold that thought, though, because when we look at the live cam, this should be, yep, another solo kill in the replay. Poor Orsi's, they have been outscaled. This is a nearly 3-item Camille that they're going to have to face down. I'm glad I'm not in their position.
Yeah, the Camille split push is something that this Michigan comp really struggles to deal with. And you can see Orsi's in particular really struggling. He's getting left out to dry in the one-on-one up against this Camille that is massively ahead of him. And doesn't work out. Doesn't end up being able to keep himself alive. Maximos is going to try to wave clear from afar with the rockets, but now that's going to be an opportunity for TA Black to start up this Baron. Oh, and I Am Sam's going to kill Maximos too, so that's a problem as well.
And this is what I was talking about. Team Ambition Black, they have such a strong split push threat in this Camille, in this Silas. They're
Enchanted
opting
Crystal
team
Arrow.
fight here.
Landing there onto Instant. He's going to be able to scoot over the wall before he ends up falling asleep. But Soma not going to be nearly as lucky. Castle chasing him down through the jungle. Will be able to pick up that kill. Goes into the revive. Meanwhile, I Am Sam in a 1v1. Orsees manages to win it. It takes 3 1-on-1s in a row. But eventually, I Am Sam does drop one of those duels. But meanwhile, 4-man squad of TA Black, they've taken control over this top side. They've taken out Soma. They've forced back Instant. And now they are collapsing onto Duan.
Oh, okay, that doesn't land, but this does. Now the slow train's going. Your HP's being shredded. Yep.
Yeah, 2 ultimates, still not going to be enough. The knockups come through. The kill is claimed by All For One. Wants to get his name on the board a little bit. Has been falling behind his mid laner, top laner, and jungler a little bit. Claims himself another one there. And TA Black, they just head right back to the Baron to get started.
Yep. Yeah, it turns out a late game Camille kills 80 carries. Okay, Corky's an 80 caster, but same applies here. Oh?
Orsees coming in on the flank here. We'll get the lockdown. Finishes up that kill onto All For One. The Baron is low enough. We'll get smited down by Castle. They've at least got themselves the purple buff, but what about their ability to fight it out? Orsees gets dove on. I Am Sam finishes off that kill, and the Precision Protocol just does so much damage to Maximos. He's going to drop down. Instant going to join him, and there's the ace for Team Ambition Black, plus the Baron buff. They're looking to push into the base.
Won't be able to end the game just quite yet. But this puts them in a very firm driver's seat position, the largest gold lead so far this game. Able to just kind of run with the lead that they're able to garner in those side lanes. And just smash it into the Baron here. This turret not long for this world. That turret not long for the world. They might be able to... I think they pick up at the very least double inhibs here, which is so hard to come back from. But if they get triple inhibs, then it's just kind of doomsday here for Michigan.
Yeah, they're reaching for triple, and I Am Sam wants to make it reality. He's taking a lot of damage, though, also getting hit up by that turret. Duan showing up, going to try to chase this down. There goes the ultimate, but no follow-up available. Duan picks up the kill on I Am Sam, and that's 55 seconds with this very strong Camille's not going to be on the map, and possibly going to secure Michigan some priority over this dragon, which is going to spawn at about the exact same time.
Which is a huge deal, because now Michigan... This should put them on Soul Point. They have the stronger team fight, especially when it's 5 versus 4. That'll give them some legwork in this game. But here comes the pop-in. Yes, you do take it down all in one here. Thing is, I Am Sam is now here. And this Camille able to just go to 10.
Gets a lot of damage out there, is critical in these team fights. Meanwhile, Castle on a rampage has found another kill onto Orsees. There's going to be a nice hostile takeover to try to slow their engage, but the 3-man sleep from Castle means he can carry through this game. We were looking at this Lilia pick in the draft. Now the 1-on-1 for All For One and Duan. All For One. One more auto, man. He cancels it. Will finally be able to do it. Duan ends up dropping down. Mark Boots and Maximos in a 1-on-1. Mark Boots wins these all day long, and it looks like that's the surrender, I believe. Yes. Will be TA Black taking game number 1.
Yep. Was a rocky road, to say the least here, Gordo. But it did feel like, for the most part, Team Ambition Black were in the driver's seat this entire game. Really came down to their slip-ups that really let Michigan come back, which is kind of spooky, not gonna lie. And that is something they need to fix going into this next game. But as it stands, they're 1-0 on this series, so just 1 away from giving Michigan their first loss.
Yeah, and I think that's Michigan's first game loss in the Risen Divine League, by the way. So TA Black already breaking some new ground here with their match up against this collegiate squad. And now they're at their backs against the wall. They're going to have to try to find a way to come back in this series, or they are at risk of getting a 2-0 by TA Black here. I want to talk about that Lilia pick. We talked about how critical it could be, how it was so effective up against the Wukong, and it has an opportunity to maybe be even more impactful now post-Wukong nerfs. And that seems to be pretty much what happened here. Castle was able to take an early lead off of a punished invade from the Wukong and just ran away with the game from there.
I felt like Duan just wasn't really able to get going this game. It felt like they just kind of got shredded in most team fights, which is a little unfortunate because Wukong is actually like surprisingly bulky. But we just saw that Lilia, especially in the later stages of the game, really start to take off. When you have the safety of that Zonias, when you have the extra bulk of that Demonic Embrace, really just giving you a lot of clutch factor as the little deerling.
Yeah, and a couple of team fights don't end up going their way, but they are still able to carry that lead through and eventually close out the game. The gold was neck and neck for a second there, though. Michigan had quite the comeback, but a couple more definitive team fights from TA Black do close it out. We do have more games, though, tonight. It is a best-of-3 series, so we got at least one more in the store for everybody. We're going to throw it to a quick break. We'll be getting into that pick and ban, but we'll be back very shortly with game number 2. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast for the Risen Divine League, where we are still in our final week of the regular season, and TA Black are up 1-0 over Michigan after a pretty back-and-forth game one. TA Black took an early lead. Michigan fought their way back, and TA Black ended up closing it at the end of the day. Off the back of that Lilia pick, which they took first on blue side, Michigan has taken red once again. We'll see if they choose to ban out that Lilia this time.
It definitely was a thorn in Michigan's side, to say the least. I'd say the biggest problem was the fact that there was a Camille that snowballed in the side lane, and
Those happen.
it took 3 solo kills before that Camille did go down at one point in that game, Gordo. So I think Michigan might want to address that issue.
That's an issue as well. So, I mean, that's two things, right? The Lilia, maybe the Camille. The Camille came through all the way at the end of the draft, so maybe you can save some of those second phase bans for the Camille if necessary. They ended up banning out Azir, Gangplank, and Ari as far as solo laners go last time around. Maybe Camille takes up one of those slots and you decide you're okay letting Mark Boots maybe have one of the mages. See, I see Ready Up's coming on through, and we are going to get into picks and bans here. Find out how Michigan intends to swap things up following a loss in game number 1.
Nothing too different so far, to say the least. As expected. And I don't think we're going to see the Camille ban in the first round here, unless Michigan is like super scared of it. But like you pointed out, Gordo, it was a late pick last round from Team Ambition Black, so not something that they're super willing to pick blindly. And it's just a question of what does Team Ambition Black want to first pick this time around. The Lilia might just be available again.
But do recall, the Aatrox was their counter pick to the Camille, so
Allegedly,
that didn't work.
yes.
So Team Ambition may feel a little emboldened to take the pick earlier. We will have to find out. The Lilia ban, though, does come through here at the end of red phase bans.
And the Ari that was banned last game is available. Team Ambition Black is definitely sitting and thinking. Usually you see a jungler or a bot laner picked up in the first spot looking like they want that Wukong. Especially with the big counter in that Lilia taken away. It does open up a lot for the Wukong. There definitely are other counter matchups, just the Lilia comes to mind the most.
Yeah, Volibear being hovered for Duan here. So another one that folks are willing to play into that Wukong. Another champion that does a surprising amount of magic damage will end up coming through there. Well, maybe not. Still has not yet been locked in, but seems like it makes a lot of sense. And with the Lilia taken off the board, your pool of champions that you can play into Wukong is quite a bit smaller. The Volibear will be locked in, presumably for Duan in the jungle. Now we'll see what they want to take blind here. A lot of folks picking bot lanes early on, especially in this league. That's what was done last game. And the Ashe is actually going to get snagged away for instant this time. So they decide, hey, we liked how that looked. We're going to claim it for ourselves.
Because it was that lethality poke Ashe with the volley spam. We saw that really just add up before a lot of the fights, just chunking people about 200 to 250 health at a time. It really does whittle you down when you take them repetitively. Question is, what does Team Ambition Black lock in here? Because Zeri is open, but we saw that is countered a little by the Ashe. Ziggs bot would be interesting. You are extremely, extremely vulnerable to that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. But the wave clear you bring is absolutely insane. You're going to force the Ashe under tower. And that's assuming it's not going to mark Boots in the mid lane.
Definitely true. And we'll see if they want to take a support to pair up with this one. There's some enchanters that can do all right with the Ziggs, but the classical pairings tend to be more of those kind of engagey supports. The Nautilus would be an option if Turk wants it again. And here it comes. Going to be locked in. It looks like it's going to be Ziggs Nautilus bot lane up against Ashe and whoever Michigan wants to pair with that one. Although it is just going to be a blind Riven here taking on 3, and now time to ban away and try to defend this pick.
Yeah, that is extremely bold here. It does also mean that Team Ambition Black can look to pinch the support pool here from Michigan Esports, because you already have the Nautilus and Senna off the board, and then the Seraphine as well as the Soraka. So bot lane pool definitely getting pinched here, and it looks like they're going for the Renata Glask as well to pinch it even harder. I like that ban, especially since you have the Nautilus Wukong, And not having to deal with that hostile takeover is just so handy for you.
Now banning their least favorite Riven matchups for Orsi's. The Camille going to take it away. The Renekton going to join them. And now I Am Sam going to have a pretty pinched pool. Have to take something up against this Riven. Ranged top laners come to mind as something that they might want for themselves. But we'll see what Sam has in his back pocket. Meanwhile, TA now, they can ban away another pick to try to weaken this Ashe a little bit farther to them what the selection will be. Instead, they're going to just take away Sylas. They decide, hey, we don't want a Sylas snagging away these great ultimates we've drafted for ourselves here. We're going to take them off the board.
That and also the Sylas would just help Michigan play a bit of a similar comp that Team Ambition Black was playing last game with the high pick focus, because you already have the Ashe, and then you have Volibear Ribbon, who are just great in those low man skirmishes. So taking away the Sylas, that would bolster that even further. Looks like Braum is the call here to block any potential hooks, to block any potential Mega Inferno bombs. It is going to add a lot of safety. It is going to add a decent amount of bulk to this backline. But it is a much more passive pick than the Nautilus, and if this Darius is locked in, top laners everywhere are going to grow.
Yeah, I mean, it's being covered here. Is I Am Sam BMD? Is this BMD on an alt? If it is, oh boy, are we in for a treat here from this Darius. I'm not 100% sure, but it is going to get hovered. It does look like it's going to get locked on in, so they are going to take this Darius at the top lane. BMD or no, TA Black do love themselves some Darius, and they are going to take it as this Riven counter.
And Darius does work pretty well into the Riven, because Riven has to get close to you, and when you're close to Darius, you just do not have a fun time. The age-old adage is like, if you're a melee against Darius, you kind of just have to not play the lane for the most part, and let yourself naturally outscale. And that's kind of what Orsi's is going to have to do here. It's going to really suck, but you are not winning those 1v1s.
Yeah, and also super high priority mid laner now going to get locked in for Mark Boots. The Azir was banned away in phase 2 bans by Michigan last game. Now slips through as they're focused on the top lane to defend this Riven pick. See what their counter pick is to it. They're hovering on the Kassadin for a while, swapping over to the Zoe to keep that pick-focused identity we talked about. They will lock that one in and are looking to see who they can catch unawares on TA Black to get these fights started. Well, TA, they've got themselves a solid team fighting composition.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of how this Zoe fits in, because Zoe is like much more poke orientated when the only other poker on your team is the Ashe, so you're really just relying on Orsi's to pop off in these team fights as your consistent damage. Unless we see the more traditional AD carry Ashe build come out this game, which is possible. But they really are going to be working the picks here, Gordo, for Michigan Esports. And it can work out. It worked out for Team Ambition Black last game. Just not vibing with me.
See, yeah, definitely an option that they have for how they want to play out this game. The Volibear also going to be very powerful with the early game ganks. Going to be keeping close attention to what Duan's able to make happen this game. You know, he went for early plays last time too. He went for that early invade at level 3 to try to steal away a blue buff. Was just a second too late to be able to have a smite fight for it, and that really kind of set him far behind and set the tone for the whole game, where Castle was just going to spend the rest of the game super far ahead in the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
Duan going to try to change that fortune this time. We'll see what he's able to get done on the Volibear. So he'll have some opportunities to make plays while Castle still busy farming. Also, you got to keep an eye on this Darius. I'm just going to operate from the assumption that I Am Sam is BMD on it all. We'll keep calling him I Am Sam, but I want to get hyped for the Darius, and so I'm going to get hyped for the Darius.
Yeah, and another thing about the Darius is that, like, the champion can effectively, like, 1v2 insanely well post 6, because if you're able to get a Noxian Guillotine reset, it's kind of over for the other person ganking, because they probably took a bunch of damage in the Darius zone, and then you insta-stack the bleed, and next thing you know, there's just a giant Noxian Guillotine cleaving you in half, which is, not something you want to deal with, to say the least here. You do at least have the CC to keep this Darius down and hopefully burst him out. I want to see if we see Orsi's take Ignite teleport heroes as Riven since you are insanely mobile, and having that Ignite to just deal with the Darius who got so much natural healing is extremely handy.
All right. So Mark Boots has replied to me. There we go. So Mark Boots has replied to me in Twitch chat. This is BMD. BMD just name changed. So let's go, baby. We got the BMD Darius facing off against Orsi's in the top lane. That's going to be a fun matchup to keep an eye on for sure. Pleasure to watch this man on his main and long time one trick there. Plays other champions now, but long time big Darius fan there. As the rest of the draft does look well set up here for TA Black as well. I'm a big fan of the Ziggs bot lane. Feel like it's dropped off a lot lately, but can still get you a lot of that early game pressure and is a great way to funnel yourself some plate gold if you can manage to get yourself an early Rift Herald. And a great recipe for getting an early Rift Herald is having a crazy hard winning top lane like the Darius is going to provide you. So definitely going to be one that I'm on the look for. See if they can break that mid lane turret super early on.
And you should have Prio in this bot lane, which sets you up nicely for the dragon. Of course, with the Azir, with the Ziggs, these are very susceptible to any enchanted crystal arrows, to any sleepy trouble bubbles that come their way. And they're not really going to be dealing with a big bear pawn in their face. So Team Ambition Black, they do have to play a bit more careful around their backline here. Not really going to have the most peel for any dive that does come out from Michigan Esports, as the Nautilus here for turn, he's going to be hopping on in here, Gordo. It's going to be a bit of a zoning game.
Yeah, definitely. And look to see how Michigan's going to be able to take control early on with this Volibear. Getting the ability to get early turrets and to set your self-vision in the enemy jungle does a lot to make picks like Ashe and Zoe a lot stronger, because it means that you can hunt for those picks in more circumstances, that you have control over more of the map to start looking for opponents to pick off, and that's really going to be their recipe for success here. They're up against some real immobile mage carries in the form of this Azir and this Ziggs. They want to be able to get onto them and to take them out before the fights start. That'll give them the recipe that they want to be able to win out these team fights with their Riven.
And that's the ideal way. Of course, things don't always go as planned here, but even if you're able to just pick off one of these, that's going to be huge, because both the Ziggs and Azir do scale pretty damn well and will be just chunking you with so much AoE damage, just the slows, the burn, because I assume we're going to be seeing some Leandries here, at least from All For One. That's going to be cutting through a lot of the health of Michigan Esports if they're not able to run the gauntlet and access the backline.
Definitely is going to be a risk for them there. We'll see how they're able to play around that, and we'll see how this bot lane ends up playing out as well. There's a lot of brawling in that bot lane last time around. This time, Michigan has stolen away the Ashe and going to be pairing it up with the Braum. Turk is back on his Nautilus, but now going to be paired up with the Ziggs. I want to see if these guys continue to try to fight it out. This is generally a bot lane you think would be real far back from each other, that they just be firing off poke, Ashe volleys coming from one side, bouncing bombs from the other. But based on how they played out the last lane, they did take quite a few fights, especially Turk on the Nautilus. Tends to be pretty aggressive, really wants to go in for those hooks, get the early trades off. So there's a chance for some bloodiness in this 2-on-2, and I'm going to be keeping my eyes peeled for it.
Something we'll have to see once we get into game, though, how it shapes up with the scaling team fight team versus the super hard pick team. But we'll catch everybody here on the flip side of what might be the final game here of this regular season game, or the second to final one of the regular season, if Michigan Esports is able to tie this series on up. So don't go anywhere. Howdy. Oh, Gordo?
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Gordo, you there, buddy?
I guess
Oh.
I'm hearable. Who's to say, really? I mean,
Allegedly.
allegedly. And I'm disconnected from the parsec, too. So there's a whole lot going wrong. But I am here. The
And we
parsec.
do have some action level 1. Oh,
Okay, that's not... Okay, that one's not me. That one's actually the broadcast. Let's go. All right.
well.
So, I'm back. My camera feed didn't cut out. Who's to say why I was inaudible for a couple of moments? But I'm back nonetheless. And it looks like we got a little bit of applause to start off game number 2.
Yeah, just while we sort out these things with you rejoining the parsec. And once that's good, we should get back into the game. We saw a bit of a level of 1 5-man stack here from Michigan. So, that's going to be exciting once we do get into it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Production was DMing me asking if I could see the parsec so that we could actually start. We can start now. I'm almost on. At least I can see myself moving on the screen, and I think that means I'll be able to see the game as well. We're going to get back into it here. Welcome back, everybody, for real this time.
Oh.
It does look like Michigan are going to be as a 5-man squad. They spot out I Am Sam, a.k.a. BMD, and chased back into his jungle. We'll be just fine, but we'll end up losing that vision battle a little bit.
Oh, where's the counter ward, Tier? Where's the counter ward? You could have walked in, you saw all 5 of them. That would have... Okay. Yeah, that basically... I was just looking for Tier to do... Or, sorry, Turk to do the very standard response when you see 5-man on top side as the support. Oh, Lord. You just walk in, drop a ward on blue buff, see where the jungler's starting. It helps a lot with just knowing... Especially against a Volibear, like, okay, we can expect Volibear probably topside around 3 to 4 minutes in.
Yeah, and this time they won't know for sure, but maybe they'll be able to tell based on the bot lane arriving a little bit late. Instant and Soma are going to give themselves a little bit of a leash here, so it's going to be mirrored starts. All for One has opted for the teleport here. Instant going for the combat summoner of the heal, so... will be a little bit of additional power to keep in mind for the Ashe Braum once these fights start breaking out. Turk, though, not waiting in the bush for the early play this time. Will likely not be getting his level 1 hook the way that he tried last time around.
And level 1 Ziggs with just the bouncing bomb.
Ooh, almost
Okay,
landed the dredge line there.
Autos,
Yeah,
there
that
was a small chance of a kill.
Yeah, it was real close for a moment. Turk taking up a bunch of damage there. All for One doing a good job. Used Turk as a shield to block out 2 different volleys, so he gets to sit there at full HP and doesn't really have to be too worried about it. Castle did get spotted as he moved up here, but the ward will die just in time. Make sure that nobody from Michigan is going to be keeping eyes on him the whole time, but they do know that he is up there.
Yep. Oh, Lord. And the hawk shot coming on out. Does not spot anything, but Sam, gonna be suspecting something here at this gank.
Yeah, going to get Flash hooked on, and that is going to be a bunch of damage, but he turns it around. He picks up the first blood in the 1 versus 2. I Am Sam popping off on the Darius, and now Duwan stuck in an unfortunate situation. Castle's going to be able to pick up that kill. It's a 2-for-1 for TA Black with first blood gold going to I Am Sam.
Yep, and I think we missed a big hook all in the bot lane, but that's the danger of ganking Darius. I Am Sam / BMD able to get so much damage down, and then once the passive was fully stacked, able to auto do one, get that bleed to just really shred through this Volibear and allow them to get that 2-for-1.
Do not challenge this guy on the Darius, Gopher. You know, he knows the ins and outs and ups and downs and every little bit of this champion, and he sees his opportunity to pick up that kill in the 1 versus 2, and he flashes and goes for it instantly. Orsies doesn't even get the opportunity to flash for himself, ends up dropping for the first blood here, and now here's the follow-up gank. Orsies does have access to that flash, like I said, so it might be a little bit tougher to pull off this gank. We'll see if the Apprehend ends up landing onto him.
Can also just start off with the cripple here. Does mean that Orsi is able to get the key strike stun down and build up enough distance, so you can't just get yoinked back on. And still a lot of damage taken by Orsi's because
I mean, that's kind of just Darius for you. You got so much attack damage from the passive. The bleed, once it starts stacking up, is so obnoxious to deal with. Okay, maybe 3 people this time will be enough to beat I Am Sam. Does look like it is.
Yeah, Crash is in a big wave. It looks like Orsiz is going to put in the effort to try to freeze that, as Soma is up here as well. Missing pings coming through. Turk roaming around, seeing if he can make something happen in the mid lane in response to this. Is I Am Sam can't get to his minions. That makes him very sad. It means he can't get access to the gold that he wants, but he's got to be respectful of Soma's Braum being in the area. Turk going to get called up to try to equalize that a little bit.
And Soma did cancel the recall that was nearly finished there. So I really just wanted to make sure nothing fishy happens in this top lane. Because they do know that Turk is here. Turk did clear out that control ward, so very clearly spotted. That's why we still have a Braum here. Can be a 3 versus 2 with Duwan in the area. Looks like it's more of a, hey, we want this wave just damn reset already, and might be a bit of a roam into the mid lane. Is spotted out, though.
Yeah, Maximos, keeping at a safe distance, also has access to the locket off of the Spell Thief there. So we'll have a little bit of additional shield and some movement speed, and some sparkles when that becomes necessary. Arceus, though, has lost a lot of HP, largely from tanking up minions. Here comes Duan once again to try to make the gank happen, but you gotta be very careful when you're this low on HP. BMD going to try to just take this in the 1 versus 2, but he gets bursted out, doesn't manage to get the heal off of the Decimate, and will drop as a result. Nice kill there, going on to Orsiz to get this Riven rolling. Castle and Turk are here, hoping to catch somebody face-checking. Castle coming on in, decides that's far enough up. They are going to start off this engage. The damage, though, the turnaround of the Castle is huge. Another kill comes through for Orsiz, and now Turk doesn't have the damage. This could be a triple kill for the Riven. Drops under the turret, gets the additional shield. 3-1 for Orsiz early on in this game number 2.
Yep, that's why I kind of really wasn't feeling it. You really just don't have the damage there. There is no enchanted crystal arrow, so there should be a safe Ziggs.
Although the stacks of concussive blows are stacking up. One more will get the stun. Not going to be enough to finish him off. And now with Turk arriving in the bottom lane, Instant and Soma have got to back away, at least for the time being. Turk going to go in for the hook, lands it onto Soma. Good opportunity to keep this fight going. Staggering blows coming through, keeping him locked in place. But Turk's actually taking a bunch of damage. He's still only level 3. Instant's actually going to be able to turn this one around and pick himself up a kill. Team Ambition Black giving up a lot for free in this game number 2. End up dropping in the bottom lane as well.
Oof, yeah, and the kill going to Instant, who has the CS lead. Now with the kill lead as well. That's pretty damn huge, and the non-Ziggs team is first one on the Dragon here, thanks to that pressure in the bot lane. So Team Ambition Black, like you said, getting a little too cocky here, Gordo. And it was costing them so heavily when they had a pretty nice lead with that 1-0, or sorry, 2-1 in the top lane. It's kind of thrown away. Maybe it's different now that you have the Noxine Guillotine in this top lane. Oof, but it is rough.
Yeah, far push up here from Orsiz, going aggressively with the Broken Wings once again. Here comes Castle. The ulti's going to be popped, going to deal plenty of damage to both of these targets, but will he be able to stay alive? Almost gets the damage through onto I Am Sam, but the shutdown is going to get picked up for Castle. 2-1 now on the Monkey, going right for the recall. Got what he came for.
Yep, is close. But you don't have to worry about giving up anything on the bot side. You had the push on in. Oh. You had the push on in there. There was no Ziggs to get dove. Mark Boots does have the Shrima Shuffle, I believe, here. Yeah. So, they are safe.
Gets himself out of dodge just in time. Would have had access to the Emperor's Divide if it was needed. All for one. Still just trying to farm up, clear out in the bottom lane. Has not had Turk with him for quite a while. Turk has been spending time abroad, roaming around to the top lane, roaming towards the mid lane, trying to get the team ahead. And the result has been that All for One has really been struggling in this one-on-one against Instant.
And we can see it just showing up in the CS counts, showing up in the pressure. The Ziggs not able to get a single turret plate in the bottom, which does royally suck. And with 4 members in this top side, it looks like that you, Michigan, really just want to use this Rift Herald to try and get something down. Okay, gonna be safe there, but fact still stands. Rift Herald takes this down to one plate in the top side.
Yeah, and we'll be getting the charge off. They are calling over members for TA Black. Turk might be up a little bit too far, though, trying to just buy himself some time. Hides out underneath the turret. Enchanted Crystal Arrow doesn't end up landing. Now Mark Boots is here as well. Turk is going to end up dropping first. There's going to be that Emperor's Divide to try to create a little bit of space. Soma's going to get engaged on. He's going to drop. It's a support for support so far, but Castle wants to get some more. Maximos has to flash away. Castle's going to flash right back after him. That's a double kill for I Am Sam, who now wants to try to pop off and get some of these ulti resets. Lots of damage coming through onto Duan. Orisi's going to be the next target, but he's got tons of damage with that ultimate available. Is going to be a 2-for-2 all in all. Mark Boots retreating back underneath the turret.
That's another big dub here for Michigan. They're able to get the first turret. They're able to have a pretty damn even fight there, all things considered. So, I mean, Michigan, they're just pulling further and further ahead, and a lot of it's just off the back of, like, hey, let's just punish this Darius in the top side. Let's just keep forcing our will up there. Just have our way, because out of the 8 kills, 6 of them have been centered in that top laner. 7, I should say.
Yeah, definitely been a big factor there. Do have to keep in mind that Mark Boots is farming quite nicely in the mid lane and will be a strong team fight threat later on. Gets himself his first assist of the game in that top lane brawl. Now, lots of gold also ending up in the pockets of Duan as a result of this early game. The Volibear, very, very strong. Not the best at converting the gold into team fighting prowess, but having the early chem tank going to be really big for being able to get these fights started.
And that's kind of what you want from this Volibear. You still have pretty high base damages. You can still threaten the Azir Ziggs if you're able to get on top of them. And it's not really a question of if you get on top of them with the Turbo Chem Tank build. It's just a matter of when, because you pop that, you have this... Okay, Shurima shuffle.
Big engage from Mark Boots, pushes Maximos back into the squad, and now Castle is there for the collapse. Turk going to finish off that kill, and they will be able to get onto Soma as well. They donate that one to the Azir. Huge play in the mid lane, and meanwhile, I Am Sam going for the solo kill in the top lane. He gets it. Duwan's coming in for the collapse. He'll be able to make this one even. Turk shows up along with Castle, but they're just a little bit too late. They wave goodbye to their top laner, and they return to the jungle.
And that's a huge solo kill, because I believe Orsi's had their Gore Drinker completed then. But that's also just kind of the power of Darius. If you let those stacks stack on up, and you're in that Darius's face, well, you're kind of not getting away. And you're eating a fatty Noxian guillotine. So, huge swing back here from Team Ambition Black. We'll bring it much closer. Stream of Shuffle is available. Hook, flash, everybody's safe. It does suck. That is a big cooldown for the Nautilus, and this is a bit of an awkward back timing for this dragon, but we can see in this replay here just how this solo kill happens. It stacks up. Yep.
Yeah, and once again, it's just I Am Sam really knowing the limits of this champion. He can just keep walking forward. He knows that the ticks are going to deal enough damage that he'll be able to chase that one down, and he's willing to absorb 3 or 4 turret shots in order to do that, because he just knows he's going to have the damage at the end of the day. Is going to be a dragon that comes through for Michigan.
There should be an Enchanted Crystal Arrow to kill somewhere here.
Yeah, it does look like Castle's going to be the one locked down. Gets a fair bit of damage back onto Orisi's. Flash away. Mega Inferno Bomb does a big amount of damage, but it's not going to be enough to turn it around. And now the tower dive from Duan. Pretty big here. There's going to be Shurima's Shuffle pushing him back in. And actually, Orisi's ends up dropping to the turret damage. So all said and done, it's a 2-for-2. All for one. Gets the gold back. And BMD farming all on his own in the top lane the whole way through.
Yep. Well, might be more than that if they're able to convert this kill. There is no Emperor's Divide.
Bubble hits the minion there, and that means these soldiers can just continue to damage up the minion wave, clear it out, and so many turret plates going over to I Am Sam in the top lane. He's got to be pretty close to, if not ahead of the Riven at this point. And yeah, that's going to put him ahead as he finishes off the turret solo.
Yep, 300 gold ahead. It's gonna be kind of felt that's a much bigger deal when you're talking about just sitting on components, but hey, you'll take what you can get here as this Darius.
Yeah.
And now
also a much bigger deal when you were down in gold by like 1,500 like 5 minutes ago.
Yep. So gonna be happy about that. All the 1v1 power you can get in the world to just make sure that Orsi's not really gonna get to play the game in the side lane 1v1s here. Even though Riven has some pretty damn good 1v1 potential, the fact is, like, you're getting up close and personal with a Darius that is gonna be more than happy to stomach a lot of your pain or damage, and then just kind of ulti you.
Yeah, he's going to be happy to do that. It's tough to play this out as the Riven. She's going to be so strong in these team fight scenarios, but in the one-on-one against Darius, it's not like she's going to burst him out straight up, especially not once he gets his hands on something like a Death Stance.
Oh, Lord.
It's going to get a lot tougher. Now, Rift Herald
might
number
be
2.
It might be the Sterix here instead, because Darius has like such a ludicrous high base AD, and just having that extra shield is so massive. Oh, bit of a pick here.
Trying to focus on the Turk. They've got the squad, but they're not quite in position. They're going to choose to just give up Turk here. All for one now. Gets slowed. Is going to get locked down next. They're trying to get the damage onto Soma. Not going to be able to get him, and it's a 2-for-0 for Michigan. They get the pick out there onto the Team Ambition bot lane. And they can turn this one into Rift Herald number 2 for themselves.
And there's no first turret on the table, but there are still outer turrets available. There's a dragon in 2 minutes. You can save the Rift Herald for that as a free bonus split pusher that Team Ambition Black has to answer and give you a man advantage around the dragon. That's okay.
Castle responding in the mid lane here will be able to pick up that kill on to Soma. Now looking to get onto Instant as well. Just make it into a 1 versus 2. Orsies has the damage. Instant gets that kill. A little bit of an additional attempt from Castle doesn't end up yielding any fruit there. 1 for 1.
Okay, well, I mean 3 for 1 if we want to include the little scuffle earlier.
Sure.
Because that is the strength of Michigan's composition here. Sleepy Trouble Bubble, Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Great tools, because then there's a Volibear and Riven on top of you. And we know how that song and dance goes. Of course, this Volibear going full tank, that damage is going to start mattering less and less. And the fact that it is a 6-2 Volibear, you do want to end the game sooner rather than later, because eventually you are just going to be kind of a bit of a fat meat shield here, and not the biggest threat.
No, for sure, is a risk that he's got to be aware of. And it's going to get harder and harder to get on top of members like this Ziggs or this Azir without some kind of other pick coming through. He's going to get slowed up by the Nautilus. He's going to have his engages thwarted. Going to have I Am Sam dealing plenty of damage and getting those full passive stacks, which is exactly what he wants, because it allows him to transfer those passive stacks onto maybe a squishier target.
Yep. As is life. Looks like Michigan are going to get this turret with this Herald. It's going to give you that split push threat. You have to be careful in the mid lane. This turret is also ticking down. It is against a Ziggs. We'll be able to execute that turret once it's under 25% health. About half right now. Ignite actually coming out here from Maximos.
Yeah, gotta be aware of the hook damage that TA bring to the table here. They also bring in a hook, and Soma gets caught out. I Am Sam loses a whole bunch of HP, though, to a Paddle Star. Mark Boots creating some distance. Will be able to take out Ortiz, and now the fight breaking out. Castle pops the ultimate, gets the knock up onto both carries. Now running rampant in the backside is Duan. He will eventually be taken down. It's a 2 for 3 so far, but let's see what they can do with this poke damage. Asleep is Mark. Gets taken out, flashed over the wall from I Am Sam to close this out with a triple kill. Can he turn it into a quadra? There's the apprehend, and there's the quadra kill for I Am Sam on the Darius.
That is the reset potential of this Darius. Only was able to get 1 guillotine reset, sadly, in that fight, but the fact that you're able to keep that passive train going with the ghost resets going means you're not getting away from this Darius. Slow him as you will. It's just not enough. Able to grab their first dragon, and we see what starts off this fight. A lot of just burst in the mid lane to chunk out a lot of these members. Oh, hello, live feed.
Did Mark Boots think that he had ultimate there? Because he flashes and E's into the team, but he can't push them back with Emperor's Divide.
Maybe. Sometimes we make little oopsies. And sometimes Orsies just gets rocked.
We admittedly missed the beginning of the replay, so I'm not going to say with certainty that that's what happened, but it looks a little bit like that's what happened. So you can see this fight breaking out. We can't even get a good feed of I Am Sam there. He's just running rampant, though. Gets 2 kills to start off, and then flashes the wall here to get onto Maximus and get himself kills on both carries.
Yep, you're not escaping that. That is a lot of gold into this Darius's pocket. And the first Infernal Dragon for Team Ambition Black. Gonna be happy about some extra damage. That's a good hook. Have the damage to get through the ball.
Duan. They don't have Mark Boots or I Am Sam, though, and those are really the consistent damage sources, unless you want to commit the Cyclone. They decide they do not want to do. That means Duan gets to walk away.
Everybody walking away. No one really wanting to hard commit because this game in a fragile balance, to say the least. Any big team fight here might just blow out the game with Baron spawning right now, in fact. Literally now.
Lots of on my way pings coming through from Michigan. They are trying to group up around this bottom river. Maybe looking for a flank angle into the mid lane, but nobody from TA Black. Going to be up too far. Baron is on the table, and that's where Michigan wants to go. Castle sees them heading there, but does need to take a couple of seconds and let his team regroup before they can really move in.
They're doing this decently fast. But everybody from Team Ambition Black knows this. Okay, that's a free pick.
Nice Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto All For One means that there is now no Ziggs, and they don't even reset the Baron. They're just going in for it again. Castle is here, gets the damage onto Maximos, trying to just disrupt the members of Michigan, and now they're going to take this fight in a 5 versus 4, but I Am Sam can't get the stacks up, can't get the reset. Mark Boots pushes them away, trying to buy time for this Darius, but it's just not going to happen. Shutdown comes through for Maximos. 4 for 0 for Michigan. Turk not able to be present, and that is going to be Baron for Michigan.
And this is Baron just right as it spawns as well, more or less, here, Gordo. So this is going to give Michigan a lot of blowout power in this game. I said the next fight might really just turn this game on its head, and that's exactly what happens. Now there's a 6k gold lead. Now you got Baron buff in play here for Michigan. They can look to break open the base with this. They can look to transition that gold lead after they crack open some towers into the next dragon with a lot more wealth in their pockets than the last time we saw this doozy-do. Daisy-do? Doozy-do?
Noosey Day. They get themselves plenty of damage in there. They find themselves that Baron. Great pick onto All For One. Really is all that they need. And it does secure themselves this Baron. We'll check out the replay. We'll see how this one played out. A great attempt to buy time from Mark Boots, but it just doesn't end up being enough.
And this is close, but you are 1v4 or 1v5 right now as Castle. Going a little too soon to contest that dragon, not able to burst down the back line, and the concussive blows walking down I Am Sam means that one big threat's down. The entire time you got this Ashe pelting away at you. And it really do be adding up, though.
It really does. They're just going to try to go for answering in these side lanes. They've got a 2-man squad pushing up in the top lane, but that does give an opening for Michigan to just run it down mid. They've got 4 members here, soon to be 5 as Orosis is collapsing up from the bottom, and they can use their Baron buff to just rip through these turrets. No sign of recalls from Mark Boots or Castle, so they're just kind of going to end up giving up this mid inhibitor.
And that's a big deal against the Ziggs, who's kind of known for being like anti-push, but Baron buff giving you all that meaning damage reduction. Gonna be huge. Team Ambition Black kind of recognizing, like, yeah, we're not on the most stable ground to be fighting this right now. We can at least pick up this objective bounty in the top lane and back on up. Mega Inferno Bomb gonna be coming down.
Yuan forcing the fight, maybe driving a little too deep, though. Castle's found his way into the backline onto Maximus. He's going to be the first one to drop, and now it's a 5 versus 4 for Team Ambition. A great Flash Emperor's Divide from Mark Boots. Gets tons of damage onto the backline. Now I Am Sam getting kited out in this fight, but the slow's coming through from the Azir. The flash forward with the Decimate, and Soma's the last one standing, and he's not going to be standing for long. I Am Sam finishes off the triple kill, finishes off the ace, and this is going to be an objective bounty dragon for Team Ambition Black at minimum.
And getting themselves up to the same amount of dragons, preventing any chance of, like, a relatively reasonable early-ish soul. I mean, just a great comeback there fight from Team Ambition Black, able to stall out a lot of that fight. We saw Castle just flash into the backline, finish off Maximos, give Instant just so much trouble there, and make them not able to do a lot of damage while the front line getting pelted by that turret once it reactivated, having to run the gauntlet through this Azir, through this Darius. And you can see it here in the replay, because that kills the wave. You gotta disable the turret, but you can't. Now you do, but that's too late. We see in the back line. Now the turret's back. There's a good shuffle. Right on into it, and it's kind of ogre.
Yeah, and you know, Juan and Orsies, they want to be diving into the back line on every single one of these fights, and the result of that is that, you know, this Wukong just gets to run rampant. Castle finds his way onto a squishy target and just blows them up single-handedly. He's got the Divine Thunder, he's got the Death Dance, he's got enough damage to be able to work his way through somebody like a Maximos, and they just have no response.
Well, that's a good bubble here, actually.
Two big beefy boys show up to stand in front of All For One to make sure that he's not going to get paddled. Don't want to take a paddling at this point. Could very well just end up one-shotting somebody like a little Ziggs.
Okay. The Ziggs, only 2 items, but really starting to chunk with all this flat magic pen against someone like the Zoe or Maximo, so an eye on those. With that mid lane inhib down, it's just a matter of time before supers march on in. There's no inhibitor turret here in the spot lane, but there is a good hook.
There's a hook on Orsies, and that's the only go button that they need. Soma taking a bunch of damage from the Mega Inferno Bomb. Maximo's trying to dive into the back line. Maybe he'll take All For One out. He does manage to do so, but what about the rest of this fight? Castle's going to end up falling down, but they work their way through instant, and I Am Sam is basically unstoppable in these fights. Double kill comes through. Both carries down. Duan and Soma, they got no damage between the two of them. They've got to give up on this push once again.
And another back and forth game here. We're once again within 2.5k gold differential. It's even on Dragons. It's 24 to 25 in kills. The biggest difference right now is going to be these turrets. A good lord, with I Am Sam just having this much gold, they have so much just free stats from level ups and extra bulk. It really lets them just go to town on this backline that's not equipped to deal with them whatsoever, Gordo. And that's kind of what we've been seeing. If you don't lock down the Darius, well, the Darius does Darius things.
He certainly doesn't. And Mark Boots continues to be a little bit of an unsung hero this game. Do we have a damage dealt this game chart? If we do, I'd like to take a look at it, because I bet Mark Boots is really high up there. His stat line doesn't show it, but he's getting so much done in these team fights and dealing out so much damage to multiple members, and that sustained damage threat ends up with results like Duan in that last fight having to ult out rather than in, and it means that the rest of the team can be safe, like I Am Sam, to work their way through in these fights.
Because that fight in the bot lane really just started off with Turk landing that one hook onto Orsies, and everybody just kind of piling on. To put it in literacy terms? Whatever it is. To put it in scientific terms.
So they're looking to set up this siege in the mid lane. This turret's very low, has been standing for a long time. Team Ambition would like to change that if they can. Over the wall, they see Soma. Crushing blow. Extended attack range. Means the castle can just boop him over the wall and stop the recall.
Everybody just retreating here. Got a minute till Dragon. Baron's on the map. Both gonna be notable objectives. Baron the most immediately impactful one, since this wouldn't be soul for either one, but it would be soul point, which gives you that huge like X factor in a few minutes once that is taken.
Certainly it does, and is going to likely be the focus. 45 seconds to go on the next Dragon. Stacking up a third Infernal Drake would be pretty big for TA Black. Turk absorbs the Paddle Star. He's tanky enough that he can shrug that stuff off. It's now a 5-man siege in the mid lane. No credit pushes on the side. There's going to be the pick landed onto Soma. He gets blown up as the fight begins. Castle chunked to half HP is just going to back away. Mega Inferno Bomb gets instant very low. And now in execute range is this mid lane turret. They just need to get All For One in range to throw down the satchel charge. With a 5 versus 4 on the map that is going to be continuing on until the Dragon spawns. TA Black want to set themselves up for the Lizard.
So Orsies is not spotted here. But with how they are pushing up here from Team Ambition Black, there is a chance that they're going to have to walk through these line of wards to really join the fight. Dragon is up, though. So if there's a fight, it's going to be in here.
Castle walking by Orises, so they know exactly where the Wukong is. Not that they can do anything about it. Dragon number 3 goes for TA.
Oh?
Orises now has a little bit of a timing advantage. He's going to show up to this brawl first. Mark Boots not going to be the target. Instead, they go to target. Goes into stasis. Poke comes through, doesn't end up landing. I Am Sam over the wall, goes dominating as he finishes off that kill out of Duan. And he's got Mark Boots as his back to try to close out more, but it's not going to be enough. He ends up dropping, and now Castle is facing off against Orises here. Has All for One over the wall, trying to give him the support with the bombs, but the damage, it just isn't enough. Mark Boots isn't here in time. Now he's getting slowed up by Instant. Instant's gonna take him down with another crit. Big shutdown there onto the Azir. Double kill for Instant. 4 members still alive for Michigan off the back of an ace, and they might look to close out this game. They don't think they can, so they turn to the Baron.
Yep. Also, if Michigan wanted to, they could have gone for like double inhib into Baron. This is the more safer option. A great fight from Michigan because they kind of split up Team Ambition Black and are able to just kind of pick and choose their fights. It lets Instant pelt down this super fed Darius to keep Brown Man Darius / I Am Sam from really wrecking much more havoc in that backline. And then Orises, there's no grievous wounds, so able to just go to town with his Death's Dance, with this Spore Drinker. And here's the start of it. Like, this is a 2 versus like 3.5. And they just commit way too hard to this. Like, you flash over the wall, okay, but now you just get pelted down. Sterix be damned. And you have nothing to stop this Death's Dance Riven from going to town.
Yeah, and Mark Boots, I think, puts a little bit too much faith here in Castle and All for One to be able to finish off this fight against Orises. He's standing there clearing out waves and then comes back to find that they've lost the fight. He really needed his DPS to be able to work their way through that Riven.
Mm-hmm. Because you're gonna want to live for this Riven. With the Death's Dance, with the Gore Drinker, with the potential, well, with the guaranteed mod.
Oh, All for One, though, going to be the target once again here. Lock it over the wall to try to buy him some time, but Instant goes on a rampage as he takes out this kill, and now Mark Boots, the next target, has no flash, pops the cleanse, gets to scoot himself out to safety. Now there's an engage in the bottom lane. BMD and Castle, rather, end up taking out Orises in the bottom lane, but they're going to lose a whole bunch of inhibitors for this. They're going in for the recalls. The fight's going to have to break out here to defend that bottom one. Michigan actually choose to back away. They get themselves the double inhibitors off the back of their Baron, but are now going to be forced back.
And another great pick here onto All for One, and it makes me kind of question why All for One didn't go for the Flash Cleanse this game. Because that gives you so much more leeway for getting the hell out. That's what we see with Mark Boots every time. Able to just cleanse on out, dip on out. Nothing much else to say. Oh. Yeah, that goes on forever in the bot lane. Holy moly, but...
Yeah, they really have to go for the full chase here. Orises is buying so much time, and you know he's yelling it for Michigan to close out the game.
No! I got 2!
End it all! You've picked off All for One. You're in a 4 versus 3. Surely. You can close out the game, but Mark Boots... If Mark Boots had dropped there, I think Michigan ends the game.
Yep. But does not drop there. Thankfully for Team Ambition Black. Double inhibs with a minute 20 till Baron is a little bit doomed. Because that's going to be kind of like near impossible territory when it comes to managing. You can at least manage the mid one relatively easily. You have that top wave pushed out, but by the time Dragon spawns, you're going to have supers in that top lane knocking on your base. Ooh.
We are a minute to go on Dragon. This would mean Soul for TA Black. Do have to find a way in, though, to be able to take something like that. They're currently struggling in that department, as they have lost their inhibitors on top and mid lanes. They have supers pushing in. Got a little bit of time in the top side, but that timer's going to be ticking down. And a teleport available for All for One means maybe he's going to be the one to go and do it. But I wonder if TA Black just ended up giving up this Dragon, given all the pressure that they are under. They are at risk of losing their third inhibitor. Here comes the collapse. I Am Sam going to be a little bit late to the party. Sleep comes through onto Turk. Will they be able to find anything else? Castle's over the wall. He's got a big engage opportunity, but he's a little bit too far away from the team. Now he's going to go for it. Flashes in, gets the double knockup. He's going to end up melting on down, but he gets the ultimate recast, and now is rezzing up off the back of that Guardian Angel. Now I Am Sam moving forward. Big damage on instant, but a nice stasis to buy him a little bit of time. Orisius has been worked through, though. Mark Boots gets the damage out onto instant. He's going to end up melting down, but he's already won his team the team fight. Maximos is locked down by Turk, and I Am Sam is there to chop him down when he comes out. The chase down onto Duan is coming in from Castle, and the Monkey ends up winning against the Bear in this showdown. That's going to be an ace for Team Ambition Black, as All for One is desperately trying to defend the base. Luckily, he's the best champion in the game at doing that. Will be able to keep up one Nexus turret, and will be able to secure his team the Dragon Soul.
Well, and that Dragon Soul's big, because that's gonna give you just so much more bursting power to finish off these kills here. We already see how much damage they do with 3 Infernals. Now imagine 4 Infernals plus the Infernal Soul, like, that is just gonna be a huge POW factor. Yeah, there's the replay I was about to say once we get into it, because you go into the backline, combine the Cyclone with the Mega Inferno Bomb, that's gonna marinate the backline salsa, even though it doesn't land onto anyone in the backline. That gives you so much time, you just go on away. You have this Darius going to town. Mark Boots buying so much time with that Zonia's here in the back line. It allows everybody else to just clean shop. They are the one death in this team fight.
Credit to Instant, though. Instant's own Zonia's stasis, whatever you want to call it, was huge in that fight. Yeah, just barely saving himself from getting Emperor's Divided right back into the squad of Team Ambition. That could have been a lot more one-sided if he didn't do that.
But now, I mean, Infernal Soul, that's going to be giving everyone a little bit of pop and power here, and everyone except for Turk has built damage, so, you know, if you're instant in this game, well, you're going to instantly die, it's going to feel like.
Yeah, that's what the stopwatch was for before. No longer has that now. Doesn't seem to have upgraded into a GA or anything yet. This might be your chance to get Baron, though, as nobody really seems to be able to answer here from TA Black. They've just got to push back out these waves. They see that it's going down, but they have no options, so they just have to let it go. And now they have to be very worried about multi-man Barons coming through from the side of Michigan. Multi-lanes of super minions buffed up with Baron. They're going to have to take the first fight they see.
Yep. The good news is, Team Ambition Black, they're able to get bot lane shoved out really far. They're able to counter shove a lot of these lanes, and 2 inhibs did respawn here.
Yep,
that's a big one.
Try their best to defend them. Will buy them some time. Castle gets stunned up, but that's actually the decoy.
Ike
manages to fake him out there on that one. Oh, and the Zir turret in the mid lane means they can just pose everything to fight in the top, and they go in for a big Cyclone. They landed onto 4 targets, but Duan's gonna get melted down. Actually call that Castle, as now they're going to go in for the re-engage. The damage from Mark Boots, though, on the backside is pretty big. Sam is gonna be focused down, goes in for the ultimate, doesn't manage to get the reset, and Michigan are working their way through the members of Team Ambition Black. The Soul was not enough to be able to take out Michigan. Mark Boots now, and All for One. They've got to try to withstand an impossible siege here from the side of Michigan. They work down the damage, but they just can't save the Nexus in time. Michigan take us to game number 3.
And the most crucial thing about that last fight is that Team Ambition Black weren't able to do their crucial combo of the Cyclone into Mega Inferno Bomb Gordo that had been working out so well. It means he had this Wukong just instantly dropped. It means the Ashe able to go to town, able to just chuck down those slows and pelt through people. And even against the Infernal Soul, they're able to win out in the damage department in that last fight, you Michigan. We are going the distance.
We are. We're going to have ourselves a game number 3 tonight. Was looking really shaky there for Michigan, but they managed to close it on out. The inhibitors and the pressure that those were able to provide end up netting them the win there. They get themselves one crucial team fight and can turn it all around from that one. I'm looking at the damage numbers here. Mark Boots did come very close to doing the most in the game, beaten only by All for One there on the Ziggs. So want to give some credit out to the mage players here for the side of Team Ambition. You do naturally end up doing a whole boatload of damage, but they did do a boatload of damage.
That they did. really, really damn close game once again. So it's a bit of a toss up for who might win this next game because both these teams definitely not infallible. They are mortal, and they have each other's numbers at various times in the game, Gordo. So I'm excited to see how game 3 turns out.
Absolutely. We're going to throw it to a break here while we get into the draft for game number 3. We will see you all as soon as we have it. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Risen Divine League, where we are going to Game 3 in our 5th and final week between TA Black and Michigan. These have been two banger back-and-forth games, Gopherino, and I'm excited that we get to sit down for a third one.
Yep. Very close spot both times. Definitely some hiccups on both sides, to say the least. Definitely some pretty poggers pop-offs from both sides.
It all comes to a head here. Whoever wins gets to guarantee themselves top dog seed. Whoever loses, though, it depends, but they're almost certainly guaranteed
Second
with
seed.
tiebreaker rules to proceed on.
Yeah, it's pretty likely that they end up, whoever loses ends up with the second seed. But the first seed is what really matters here, right? You know, second seed
Yeah.
versus third seed, you just end up playing the other one either way. So really, is it really that big of a deal? But first seed matters a lot because first seed means that you get a much easier path on your way through the postseason, and you definitely want that, especially with the double elim bracket. It's just going to favor you as far as who your opponents are the whole way through, and give you the best chance of making it to that finals week, where we know all these teams do want to end up at the end of the day. The ready ups are coming through in the draft here, so we are going to be hopping in right now.
There we go. Yep, gonna be starting on off here. And we do flip sides for the first time this series. Nothing too surprising. There's the Riven taken away this game, though, so...
Yeah, they don't want to. They don't want to deal with that one again. They decided, the result of the Riven being locked in is that we spend the whole first 20 minutes of the game spamming top lane, and I guess these teams, at least TA Black, decide they don't want to go ahead with that this time.
Which is fair. Similar bans, though, once again from Michigan. See if they continue it here. They want to take away that Lily again. They are blue this game, so they can first pick whatever problematic champion that they do want to let through. Just gonna be sticking to their guns, though, with the same 3 bans. Team Ambition Black, they're gonna have to pick and choose here of which ban from last time around they don't bring around.
Yeah, definitely. As looks like they are going to be keeping these Enchanter bans for Michigan. The Seraphine ban on blue side surprises me. That champion is broken. And I'm surprised that Michigan don't kind of just want to force that ban out of TA Black themselves, or threaten to first pick it. Looks like they've got other plans, though. The Aatrox ban are going to come through from TA Black as well, so they really want to limit what top laners Orsees can go for and give that counter pick to I Am Sam.
Keep in mind, though, it does mean that the Fiora has slipped through, as well as the Vigor that they have been banning this entire series.
True.
Looks like
Instead,
Volibear.
they go for none of those. They go for the bear. So this is a chance for TA Black to steal away one or both of those champions. Well, I think an R1, R2 Fiora Vigar would blow my mind a little bit. I don't think that's something that's going to actually happen, but it is an option that's available. Instead, they take the Wukong. They want to save themselves counterpick for as many matchups as possible. And we'll see. This has been Ashe, both games. Both teams have taken themselves an Ashe where they got the opportunity. Let's see if Castle ends up locking that one in here for all for one.
Saw how this jungle matchup went last time. Volibear, not as big of a threat in the late game as that Wukong. We are keeping one trend consistent, though. Keep in mind, when All For One did pick the Ashe, it was the more poke-centric Ashe. Whether or not we see that this game is left up in the air, it really depends on the solo lanes. There's the Fiora hover, there's the Fiora lock-in, so Team Ambition Black gonna be having to deal with Orsees on a comfort pick.
Yeah, the Fiora ends up coming through. Still pretty strong. Has been a little bit nerfed from how strong it was on, I think it was the durability patch, where Fiora was just totally busted for a little bit. Now it's been toned down a little bit, but is still something that is to be feared in that one-on-one. Now, Maximos to round out our first round here. Could take half of bot lane. Could take something else. And it is going to be the latter, or the former. It is Ezreal. It's whatever one comes first. As here's a Gangplank. This has been banned away from I Am Sam quite a bit this series as well. See if he ends up taking it for himself on this R3.
Interesting thing to note is that the Fiora can contest the barrels pretty decently well for a melee champion, as you dash on in with your lunge, and that can proc on barrels, if I'm not mistaken. Whether or not it prioritizes them, that's up in the air. But it does give you contesting power here against I Am Sam, who is going to be wanting to play a bit safer as this Gangplank. Scale on up, hit their Sheen Power Spike to really just start annoying Orsees in this lane, and then look to hit their first item Power Spike where they can get some pretty big pops.
Yeah, definitely. 2 different auto attack resets there on the Fiora. One with the lunge, the other with the E. will
Yee.
be very good at contesting those barrels as a result, but IamSafe doesn't care. He's willing to take the Gangplank anyway. He's played a whole boatload of this Gangplank this season, has really started to play it, I think, even more than the Darius in solo queue, if I recall his solo queue count correctly. It's really jumped on the Gangplank train, and this time is going to get to show us what he's got on it. They're going to look to pinch out this mid lane pool again. The Zoe going to be taken away. There's that Vigar joining the ban list for the 3rd game in a row.
Yep, and I'm assuming what Team Ambition Black probably want to do here, lock in your support, and then you save that counter pick here, unless you're super, super worried
Go
about...
for Reno, if I got you.
Yep. Unless you're super... Oh.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh.
Either I lost you or you lost me, one or the other, but I think we're back
Wow.
now.
Okay, that's good. Because I was able to hear you at the very least, but I expect the support to be picked up here. Save that counter pick for last here. Unless you are super, super gung-ho on locking in a mid lane champion here, worried that Michigan might take it from you, it's gonna be the Yuumi. You are against Ezreal, who's not the biggest punisher of like Yuumi lanes, but it can be locked in with a champion that does punish the Yuumi. I know some supports really love just picking Leona / Alistar into the Yuumi, because it is so easy to just instantly engage on that Yuumi when the cat does pop off.
Yeah, definitely is. The Yuumi is there along with that Ashe. Victor going to be the blind lock-in for Maximos here. Does fine into the Azir, but I mean, I'm expecting to see another Azir here from Mark Boots. I mean, it worked out so well for him last game. He was so impactful on it, and it would have a pretty solid laning phase here up against that that Victor.
Mm-hmm. One thing to note, though, or actually no, the Azir would work pretty well with this team, because you have GP plus Ashe, which can operate much more in poke senses. And then if you lock in the Azir, you actually have a lot of really strong disengage for the Volibear and Fior trying to get on top of you. But this Bard lock-in for Soma can negate that, because you just drop the fatty ulti and everybody just has to take a bit of a chill pill while they stay in that stasis.
Oh, Mark Boots, though, hovering the Silas, thinking about taking this option instead, has some solid ultimates that he could snag away for himself if he ends up wanting them. And yeah, they decided they want a little bit more of a brawly setup. They want to go all in on these kind of pick setups that they can get with their Ashe, and they want another melee that they can throw this Yuumi on top of, who can carry through and make sure all those final chapter procs are landed where they should.
Now there are 2 melees for the Yuumi to hop on to use that final chapter, and 2 melees that can just be benefited so hard from the Yuumi constantly healing them. I believe it was the last time we cast, we saw a Yuumi Wukong duo just be so obnoxious to deal with. Might be forgetting, though. That was 3 weeks ago. A little over half a month, but hey.
For sure. Now, I'm interested to see this top lane matchup, because these champions have been banned away from both of these players a whole bunch. Technically, Gangplank wasn't banned in game number 2, but BMD ended up going for the Darius instead. Now, they are going to be both showing what they're made of on these selections, and that means we might see another real top-focused game here go for Eno. I mean, I talked about following that Riven ban that Team Ambition didn't want to go for this, but might end up looking that way anyway. There's going to be a strong desire to get this Fiora ahead or shut her down, depending on what team you're on. And it might result in us seeing a whole bunch of action towards that top side for the 3rd time this series.
I mean, I expect there to be action. Maybe not very early on, neither Fiora nor GP, aside from level 1 She's, really have like the strongest, like, pow, I'm gonna kill you right now. They do at least want like all their basic abilities for the most part to really look for all-ins. So I expect there to at least be a little bit of a chill pill until the first jungle gank. Then once that happens, I believe the gates are just wide open this top lane. There's going to be fighting.
Yeah, there certainly is here. And, you know, that Volibear from Duan, we know that that can get stuff done early in the game. So might be another look to try to get some of that action started earlier on. So we are working our way through the picks and bans. Nobody's taking anything anywhere unexpected. No jungle gangplanks this time around. No mid lane Yumis. Just going to be everybody going where they drew it up. And does mean that Mark Boots, he played a pretty strong Silas in game number 1. Was able to get up a nice lead over the Corki coming through for Maximos. Should be a similar setup this time. Victor going to be very similar to that Corki early on, just looking to scale up, looking to get his upgrades before he's really going to be able to contest the Silas in the damage department, and before he's going to have that perma shove that you really want out of your Victor. So going to be another opportunity for Mark Boots maybe to get unleashed early on from the mid lane and get himself off to an early lead the way that he did the first time around.
Mm-hmm. Although one big key distinction this time around is that Maximus does have the gravity field instead of Valkyrie. So if you get stunned up in that gravity field, you will be taking a lot in return. It's not like the Corki who's forced to Valkyrie away, who's forced to kind of just whittle you down with poke. The Victor doesn't really have to wait on that, can just drop a Fatty Chaos Storm on you and go to town if you happen to get stunned on up, but that's later, and we'll have to see how that shapes up later.
Yeah, for sure. Like the Bard pick for Soma, by the way, we didn't get to talk about it too much because we were getting excited for mid lane counter picks, but the Bard with the Ezreal, do love this pairing. Ezreal does really well sitting on his own, and Bard does want to unlock himself to make some of these roams happen early. Based on patterns, we might expect he's going to be heading towards top lane. These supports have spent a whole boatload of time up there anyway, and Bard, arguably one of the best at doing so. Tark, though, on the Yuumi, might end up sitting bot lane for quite a longer time, unless he can find himself a way to snatch his way onto somebody and take them up to the top lane brawls. As, Yuumi a little bit less mobile, doesn't really want to be on her own too often, so might just end up sitting with All for One in the bottom lane, which might make life a little bit tougher for Instant. Even on this Ezreal, he's still at risk of getting volleyed, just like anybody else.
Yeah, and especially if it is the poke build that All for One went in that first game, I personally would prefer more the traditional like AD carry Ashe build here to benefit from that Yuumi much more. But either way, you should have wave control in the spot side because Ashe will naturally outshove the Ezreal. If you press that W, you're also hitting that wave 9 times out of 10. The Ezreal, not exactly known for insane wave clear, so that's just going to give you a lot of leeway in the spot side if it is that 2 versus 1. And if you're able to translate that into CS lead, into some turret plates, into that dragon here, that can be a good way for Team Ambition Black to get their bot lane off on the right foot.
Yeah, and with the summoner spells now locked in, we can see triple teleport for both teams. So we're throwing away those cleanses, even against the Ashe. We don't care about cleanses here. Just going to be looking to provide that global pressure and to make sure that they're going to be able to side lane with the best of them, but are also going to be able to get their way into the team fights when they do end up breaking out. Giving them a whole boatload of side laning options means that you're not going to end up in some of the positions that Team Ambition found themselves in last game, where you have multiple members committed to a side lane, no actual real way to join the fight, and you might end up having somebody picked off and given up a kill as a result.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of don't want to be getting picked off this game, because it is game 3, so...
Yeah, for all the marbles. Winner of this game will end up taking that first seed, so... a lot to play for here, a lot to get yourself seeded as best as possible into that postseason bracket. We're going to throw it to a quick break here while we get loaded onto the Rift for game number 3. We will see you there, and until then, we will be taking a little break. Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Risen Divine League, where we are going the distance here. Team Ambition Black taking on Michigan. See who is going to end up taking our first seed. I do now have confirmation that Lotus has beaten Cupid Esports, and that means that the loser is guaranteed to get second seed. So we now know exactly what we're playing for.
All right, yep. That makes things a lot easier. No worry about tie breaking when that's already been done for you.
We're sure here. So we're getting into the level 1. Soma thrown down his ward, gone back, picked himself up the scanner. Gonna be keeping my eyes on Soma to see what he's going to be able to accomplish on this Bard. I expect to roam up towards the top lane. We've seen a lot of roams up towards the top lane this series, and Bard, a pick that seems well equipped to be able to do so, especially with the opportunity presented by Turk being on the Yuumi. He's going to be a little bit less likely to be on the roams. That could give a big numbers advantage to Michigan.
Mm-hmm. It is the poke ash, though, in the bot lane with this Yuumi, which I personally don't like. I want to see the more consistent DPS. You're going to need something to shred through this front line, and you're not really going to be poking down a Volibear. But it does mean during laning phase, your volleys are just going to be hurting with that comet damage, with the fact you are going to be itemizing early lethality. That, if we see Instant just kind of left on their own, it might just be death by 1,000 volleys.
Yeah, very possible. This is what All For One went for in the first game as well, I do believe. And now facing off against 2 squishy targets with this Bard and this Ezreal could be even more dangerous. You can see Turk hopping off to get his teammate the shield, returning back on to that Ashe to continue the gameplay. Very much interaction in this bottom lane from the Yuumi Ashe duo. You know, really a lot of abilities that are possible to miss between the two of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean, you can miss the Prowling Projectile. But yeah, it is a little hard to miss sometimes, because it's not like you have to worry about getting hit, as Yuumi. And have to worry about getting hit here if your name is Samuel L. Plankson.
Yeah, Sam waiting out underneath of this turret is going to get dove by Duan, doesn't end up using the flash, and that's going to be first blood for Aura Season. Duan in the top lane, they commit both flashes to get it done, but they do get it done and claim first blood. Here's Castle, though, with the response once again in the top lane, looking to get this kill onto Duan, and it's just like it happened in game number 1. Castle will be able to claim the kill onto the opposing jungler. This time, no first blood for I Am Sam, first blood for Ortiz instead.
Mm-hmm. But Sam, you kind of just gotta flash that, because I'm assuming Sam did not have mana for the oranges there. Otherwise, you pop the oranges and you might have enough health to walk away. I kind of really doubt it. So the best bet there is, hold that thought, Gravity Well, yep, gonna keep you safe at least, but best bet there is just instantly flash. If you're further under turret and then you have to pop oranges, fine, so be it. You know, you got Corrupting Potion stacks ticking away, you get a bunch of healing from that orange, and you likely make it a 1-for-1. But instead, there's now a 1-0 Fiora, and Fiora can snowball just a little bit with a lead.
Definitely.
Hello? Seems I lost my co-caster again. Another gank at the top side, this time Sam paying the respect flash. Recognizing, yeah. I kinda know how this song and dance goes, so. Alright, can we hear Gordo now?
Yeah, I mean, I thought you could hear me the whole way. I could hear you.
Nope.
Discord pulling some pranks on us once again.
Just a prank, bro.
As Sam was ganked again, did manage to survive this time. Now calling up Castle. Duan is here. It's going to be a 2 versus 2. They're focusing in on a Duan first. That lightning does a boatload of damage, though, and Ortiz is able to kind of fend them off. The wave is going to crash into the turret, but I Am Sam going to have to back away. There's nothing more to be done for these 2 junglers and top laners.
Being able to get your Gangplank a nice fresh back, though, with that wave crash into turret. Okay, now Sam has the Sheen here. That is pretty big. Because Miko, a former analyst for CLG's Academy team, I believe it was, just told me, like, all right, as a caster, like, the biggest thing you can do about Gangplank matchups is know that they basically all kind of flip once he gets Sheen, because every time you press Q, that parlay is procking it. Your barrels proc Sheen, if you do land those. So that's just going to be a boatload more free damage here on this Gangplank. I'm going to be more than happy to be procking Sheen. You know, you just press the Q, you press the barrel, you proc it to the Sheen.
Match made in heaven, perhaps matched only by the
Oh,
Ezreal. As
exactly.
Hey, look, the match, it's flipped. The matchup flipped, Govrita. You called it. I am Sam. Picks up the solo kill there up against Orises, thanks to his beloved Sheen, and is now going to be back in control of his top lane.
God, I love it when coaches or like pros are able to like condense something down into like such a TLDR version. Like, yeah, this isn't like the most intricate thing. It doesn't apply every time, but it kind of applies like 90% of the time. Like now. Like, yeah, does Sheen flip every matchup? Maybe not. No, there's a lot of caveats, but like the simple thing that you can communicate as a caster is it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
No?
There's going to be the Gangplank ultimate thrown down, and there's the squad of Michigan forced to back away, all for one now, poking them farther away with Turk at his back, and Castle should be able to pretty easily secure himself. The dive over the wall from Mark Boots, picks up the kill onto Duan. All for one, taking a fair bit of damage from the Bard, going to have to back away, but that's another kill and a dragon for TA Black.
I mean, you take that, you're able to get that quickie collapse down there in the bot lane, thanks to that cannon barrage just slowing everyone up. And they have to take the Tunnel of Shame. Because there's death on the other end, sadly.
Yeah, that is what you got to be worried about. Ezreal also loves his Sheen, by the way. Is pretty responsible for a fair boatload of the damage, but was not enough in that specific scenario, just getting out-pressured by this Combat Ashe. You know, the poke damage ends up paying off big time there, and is a big part of what gives them advantage over that dragon. That and the ability to throw cannon barrage from across the map.
So, yeah. Now you get yourself the first dragon of the game. You know, this roam-heavy thing, you're going to be appreciating the little extra boost. More so, you're going to be appreciating the fact it gets you to soul earlier and gets you some free stats. That's our way of saying this game has finally calmed down just a little bit. These teams just kind of taking the chill pill. All that thought.
Three-man squad moving forward onto I Am Sam again. There's going to be those oranges trying to make everything okay. Not going to be able to, though. Orises picks up that kill. The three-man gank squad comes through for Michigan once again, and I Am Sam drops in the top lane.
Nothing much you could do there. Castle does have double buffs and a Yuumi and Cyclone here, so they might be able to just 2v2 very easily here with how much obnoxious power the Yuumi gives. They are known to be here. Oh, they should see that Bard portal. Oh, okay. So there's a chance that Michigan doesn't know this monkey cat combo is here. Okay, they do now.
Yeah, Duan confirms without a doubt that there is in fact a monkey and a cat in there. Walks his way in, sees them both, and then walks away. So Castle going to return to his own jungle clear, trying to keep the pressure up in mid lane. It looks like they are actually going to go for a little bit of a play here onto Maximos with the addition of that Yuumi ultimate, but they just can't get the lockdown. Maximos flashes his way out, creates enough distance, and will survive.
And he's on out, but it means next time you come, if it's within the next 5 minutes, you can get yourself a bit of a Victor BBQ that much more easily. Victor not known for being the most mobile mage. Herald started up once again, and that actually stops the cat dash here. That's going to be down for 6 seconds.
Yeah, Turk trying to just waltz his way out of there. Doesn't have the boots, so it's pretty tough. Will eventually get away. Castle has to expend the ultimate as well, and they have now basically no chance of contesting that Rift Herald. It will go over to Michigan. So, Duan set up to secure this one for himself.
So, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. We saw Team Ambition Black do that with the Dragon where they yoinked it, and now you, Michigan, going to be yoinking it after the other team started it. So, Better to know you. This game, once again, back and forth, back and forth.
Urk
Oh,
moving his way over. It still shows him as the Nautilus. That's interesting.
Happened.
I don't know why that is. The
sometimes Macro Heart just doesn't update fast enough.
Ooh,
No
Castle.
Cyclone available.
Here comes Orisi's, chunked out to about half. Rift Herald is down. Teleport in from All for One, and now here comes Mark Boots over the wall.
the
Doesn't
Upsun
land the
method.
abduct. Going to just flash over the wall, though. Has the Yumi at his back. Will they throw out? Oh, there is no final chapter. Yumi
Yeah.
is level 5. So, not going to have access to that one, but will still be able to collapse onto Soma and take out that kill anyways. Looks like the rest of Michigan will be able to escape.
Oh?
Ooh, Enchanted
Okay,
Sclero.
okay.
Not
Maybe
landing,
not.
but there is going to be the abduct. They're looking to lock down on a Maximos anyway. They work their way through Castle, though.
Maximus gets
Finally,
one.
level 6. Turk going to throw out the ultimate, but just getting the lockdown on. Maybe a little bit too late. Mark Boots trying to stay alive, but gets lasered down by Maximos. Double kill to the victor. 4-4 on the scoreboard.
Right.
Gold lead to Michigan. And All for One shows up just a little bit too late to turn this one around.
So damn close, but Cyclone was still not available there for Castle. And Turk took so long to tick on up. All those health bars already pretty damn low. You don't have that gangplank there because, obviously, Sam had to stay in that top side. Yeah. Yeah, you're not in danger here. So, definitive teamfight win in the end for Michigan. They're able to get a 3-for-1, I believe. And some plates on that top side.
Indeed. Will get themselves some gold back and are now back in the lead. 1,500 so, in fact. Dragon number 2 has spawned. Castle is the first one here. He's going to work his way through this Scuttle Crab and just may call over some friends to try to pick himself up another reptile.
A big thing to note, if we do see a 5v5 around this dragon, is that Michigan, with that little bit of gold, okay,
Soma actually just takes a boatload of damage there. I am Sam. Taking some notes from the Darius. He's just trying to turn this one around. He picks up the kill in the 1 versus 2, flashes out. Orsi's commits the ultimate, but can't detonate it. And I am Sam. He just walks away. Thank you very much, Soma, for the free 300 gold. I'm going to continue my business as I was.
Yeah, I mean, Essence Reaver, it's a super cheap item. I believe there might have been a crit somewhere in that trade. I don't know if it was on the barrel or if it was on the parlay, but either way, a crit landed onto this board. And just kind of shredded before Orsi is able to really get into the thick of things, which is a big deal because Orsi's, with this 2-1 lead, has that Gore Drinker as well here, Gordo. That's a pretty damn noticeable power spike. We can take a look at the replay here. Which one was the crit?
Gets
Probably
2
something-
passive procs here, too, by the way, because he can reset it off the barrel. And there's
Yeah,
the
there's
crit.
one
Crit
crit.
off of the passive auto to finish it on off.
And, so yeah, I mean,
Oh, Maximos is dead.
uh,
How about that? Mark
I
Boots.
see Cyclones on cooldown, so I'm going to take a wild guess there might have been a gank.
Yeah, that does seem correct. Duan now in charge of holding down the mid lane, facing off against All for One. He's tanky enough to withstand the damage from this Arcane Comet, but All for One should have no troubles clearing that one out. Orsi's going aggressively with the Riposte once again. No CC from the Gangplank to block out, so, you know, you can kind of just use that as a range slow.
yeah.
Here's the gank. Yeah, you called it, Goverino. That's what it is. The lockdown on the 3-man squad picks it
There
up.
was slightly more Yumi involved than I thought there was. But
Yeah, the
I guess
final
a kill.
chapter was down. We could have used the same logic there, but All for One gonna flash away, sends the volley in the wrong direction, but that's okay. He gets to survive with his life. And now Castle and I am Sam looking for a dive onto Orsi's here. There's going to be the riposte, blocks out of the damage from the crushing blow. That could be huge as he picks up the kill on I am Sam, and Castle can't take it the rest of the way. No ultimate, not enough damage. Getting chased down by Orsi's now. Maybe a little bit of a mistake. That red buff will net Castle the opportunity. The flashes get traded back and forth, and Castle is going to get lasered down by Maximos. A disaster for TA Black in the top lane. They lose both their top and jungler.
Ah, man, that is Giga feels bad, man. Like, hey, googly moogly. Because you kind of don't want to be giving Fiora kills. We've established that, and now there's another kill in this Fiora's pocket. Take a look at the replay, because, yeah, you're pretty low, but you don't have the Cyclone here. And that turret stacks up really quickly against this Gangplank, the Fiora getting some passive healing, so Orsi is able to just get back on up. And the double flash, really unfortunate because Castle like flashed half a second after we saw Orsi's flash there, so not able to get the one auto that would secure the kill. Probably get them Triumph and maybe get them. Maybe.
Yeah, you can see the logic. The Castle's getting antsy because the turret's going to target him because of the red buff burn. So he really can't afford to wait around too long and go for the collapses. Now Mark Boots doing exactly that, chasing down onto Soma. Final chapter comes through. That's going to be a kill for Castle. And now Orsi's maybe up a little bit too far, but the collapse is coming through from members of Michigan. They are going to be able to block out on the abduct with that riposte, but Castle's still spinning on top of everybody. Shut down for Mark Boots as it's a all-out brawl in the bottom lane. Maximos gets dived onto. Mark Boots does not miss these chains. Lands his probably fourth one of the fight there on the Duan and is going to claim himself the triple kill. Wants to make it a quadrant, but finally some chains miss. But the Everfrost connects and the dive is just a little bit too far. Instant turns it around with a Mystic Shot. Turk jumps inside a Castle, barely manages to stay alive. Castle looking to turn it around yet again, but is looking to get punished once again. Triple kill right back from Instant. Over aggression bites TA Black yet again.
And Instant has an extremely strong 2-item power spike with the Man Immune, with the Essence Reaver. That's a lot of CDR you have. Those Mystic Shots, they add up, and the fact that they're able to get so many Arcane Shifts off to dodge key abilities in the fight really lets them turn it around here, because Team Ambition Black, I mean, they're winning this from the start. They get that one pick right here. They get another pick, Baba Booey. Never mind, we're going back to live, because somebody done deaded.
That's an Enchanted Crystal Arrow. I've looked at the ultimates. I could calculate what happened. All for one lands Enchanted Crystal Arrow there on to Soma and picks up that kill.
Nice kill right before this dragon. That is the primary warding person on the enemy team that you just took down. Really hinders any vision control right now that you Michigan might want to drop for this next dragon. Would be Team Ambition Black putting themselves on Soul Point here. Looks like it's just going to be the trade of the objectives. Now versus later, the classic Herald versus Dragon trade, but of course, it is second Rift Herald, and this is Soul Point Dragon.
Yeah, Castle should be able to pick this one up pretty easily. Soma's in the area, could maybe steal one with a crazy Cosmic Binding, is going to look for it, gets spotted out by the ward, throws it out at 1k HP. Doesn't do that much damage. And so it is going to end up dropping down to Castle. They did manage to secure themselves that Rift Herald, though, and they're just going to throw it down in the mid lane, try to get themselves a push here. They will at least get the mid outer. What else can they get for themselves? Mark Boots now in a 1 versus 2. Teleport being channeled by I Am Sam. The turnaround on Soma, he's no stranger to that one, is going to flash away this time. Gets the stasis there onto Mark Boots, who is now going to get jumped on by Orsi's. The ulti has expired. That's though, to turn around onto I Am Sam and pick up the first kill. Turn that one into 2. The stolen ultimate is going to be too little too late. 2 for 0 for Michigan.
Ooh, and Dougal's going over to the Fiora. Great Tempered Fate there to stop that, as well as the turret being the real MVP of that, racking up all that damage. And if they don't skid out from this mid lane, you Michigan can pick up some more kills here, because this Fiora definitely in split push mode with the first time completed, looking to complete what I assume is going to be the Ravenous Hydra. No.
2-1 on the flank. Castle is here for a little bit of extra damage. They are going to be able to turn this one around. He has to ulti out, but he's going to drop to Castle anyway. But the lockdown is big from Maximos with the gravity field there. Gets himself a kill right off the bat there and is going to turn it into 2. Instant with another double kill as they're still chasing Castle across the map. Soma going to arrive up here to try to catch out the monkey. Cosmic Binding lands, binds him off of his own decoy. Here's the collapse from Maximos to pick himself up what is sure to be another kill.
Yeah, just needs to land the one little laser here. Yeah.
There goes. Will be another one for the victor, who is now getting more and more online. Has participated in a lot of kills recently. That gives him a lot of upgrade points. It means that he's going to be very strong.
Because if you look at Michigan, like, they have an insane kill spread. You have 5 kills on Fiora, 4 kills on Victor, and 5 kills on Ezreal. Like, those are the people you want to be giving kills, and they all have the lion's share of kills this game. Here's the start of that. Yes, you get that one, but Gravity Well, there's this fed Ezreal. And it's a dismounted Yuumi, like... Yep.
Unfortunate there, for sure. I am Sam. Going to come up in the top side, going back to pushing out his waves, just trying to get as much farm as possible on this Gangplank. Has already completed the LDR, so has the ability to work his way through this Volibear a little bit more effectively. Baron is getting pinged on here from Michigan. They want to move their way over there, clear out vision, and force TA Black to check into them. See if they are going to be able to accomplish that. They don't get to the ward in the pit, though. They're a little too concerned about potentially getting picked off.
You have to be careful if you eat up an enchanted crystal arrow in the Baron pit while the Baron's auto-attacking you. It means you might just drop, because doing Baron against Gangplank is always a risky maneuver. If you're chunked by Baron, then decide to eat a crit barrel, because the RNG gods are not in your favor, well, enjoy that one, bucko, because you don't want to be sitting in the GP zone, to say the least.
You definitely do not. He is in the bottom lane now, and they know this. He's going in for a 1v1 up against Orises, who is going to flash over to get the ulti proc, now getting melted down by the Cannon Barrage. Another flash away from I Am Sam, and the shutdown in the 1 versus 1. Pirate takes out the Fencer this time around. That is going to be... Israel ult nearly taking Sam off the board. Still survives with about 50 HP. Here's Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Lands onto him. These global ultimates getting traded back and forth, and this is a perfect engage for Castle. Gets his way onto Instant, and they're going to melt through Duan while they're at it. There's Tempered Fate showing up a little bit too late to the party, and this can be Baron for TA Black.
It should be Baron. There's no enemy jungler. There's 2 enemies. One of you. There's no Tempered Fate to even stall you out. It's really just the Victor Lasers and Chaos Storm here to threaten you. Yep, takes 1 barrel crit.
Chased out onto Maximos. They've got the Yuumi at his back. Goes on in, dives onto Maximos, picks up that kill, and Soma's gonna get shut down as well. Here's Orises a little bit late to the party. Will be able to pick up a kill off the back of that teleport. Turk needs a target to jump onto and gets there just in time, and that means Orises basically has no ultimate. He's got to back away, but they've stopped the Baron successfully.
And there is 20 seconds until Dragon. You won't have the manpower advantage on your side, but that big scary GP is still going to be dead. That's a big deal. Is that a big enough deal? Because it is still the Ocean Soul. You know Team Ambition Black going to be fighting tooth and nail for this. Let's take a look at the replay here, because this is an extremely fantastic arrow. I think it's like pseudo-blind.
Yeah, I believe so. They do manage to get it, though, and the setup here is just great. Duan's got nowhere left to go either. Meanwhile, in the picture-in-picture, Michigan did manage to pick up that Dragon, so Soul going to be delayed at least 5 more minutes here for TA Black.
And that is a big deal, because having Ocean Soul will be so stupid for, I mean, any team, really. But when you combine that with a Yuumi, because Ocean Soul does give you that bonus mana regen, and Yuumi has notorious mana issues, well, when you ain't got to worry about mana all that much, it turns out Yuumi just able to just press E on cooldown.
Yep, that is indeed part of the concern. Smart Boots is over the wall here, still very strong on this Silas. But I Am Sam has gotten himself so much gold as well on that Gangplank. 3 items completed, working on his 4th. Gotta believe that's gonna be the Infinity Edge that will really push this Gangplank into Nutso territory.
Oh. Well, okay, I was corrected by Twitch chat. Ocean Soul no longer gives mana. Damn.
That is correct. It is just health these days. But still, the health is good. It pairs up with the healing from Yuumi very nicely, and the healing from the Moonstone Renewer means that you're going to stay topped off for a very, very long time. You can just rely on those items to make sure that you have the mana that you need.
So a lot of tension without Dragon on the map for another 3.5 minutes. We all know what the call is. Baron's the big thing on the table. Top laners be split pushing, much like women be shopping. I'm just looking for the big arrow, the big Cosmic Fate, Cosmic Fate. Just start off this fight. Oh, that actually lands.
Yeah, there's going to be the follow-up. An Instant taken out in his name is going to fall. Big play by TA Black now. Big power point on the map without that Ezreal being available, and they're going to head once again straight for the Baron.
Because Instant did have Flash, did have Arcane Shift there. It was the edge of the Ashe arrow hitbox, so
Yeah,
I will
thick,
cut him
dude.
some slack.
You deserve a little bit of slack. You never know when you're really going to get hit by the Ashe or not. It's a very, very big hitbox.
There are a lot of key ultimates down.
Our Baron is dropping lower and lower. Mark Boots has stolen away the Chaos Storm. That's a big deal as TA wants to funnel Michigan through this small choke point. Here comes the stolen away Chaos Storm. Maximos gets one shot, going to throw out his own, but the damage is not going to be matched. Here comes Orsi's on the backside. Flash away from all for one to try to keep himself alive. He will eventually get taken down with the Grand Challenge on top of him, but Orsi's is going to get finished off by a nice abduct from Mark Boots. Follow forward onto Duan. Double kill comes through for the Silas. Not going to land the chains onto the respawn Instant, who is going to finish off Castle. And now Instant could pop off in this fight. Couple of low health targets. They're trying to sustain back up though, and they have access to that Yuumi to do exactly that. But once again, the Baron is going to be halted, but the fight gets won by TA Black.
Above. Gonna be a big deal here for Mark Boots, just giving him all that extra health regen alongside this Yuumi. Now they're back in it. They can hold off this wave kind of in the mid lane. They don't save turret. Ooh. Okay.
Mark Boots going to get the lockdown onto Instant. Here comes the ultimate, and there's the enchanted crystal arrow. Locking down onto Instant. He's going to drop with 45 seconds left to go. There's going to be the tempered fate. Locking down onto Soma. Turk is here as well. Double kill comes through for the Silas. I Am Sam trying to survive up against Orsi's. Will be dropped, but Orsi's loses all his HP for that one, and that's going to be the triple kill for Mark Boots on the Silas. Follow forward onto Maximos. Call that one a quadruple kill. Duan not close enough to give them the penta, but this surely is going to be the Baron. Duan is coming up, though. He will have access to that smite. He can go for the Miracle Steal.
A Miracle Steal will be needed here. It is 1 versus 4. Because if you die here, which you're probably going to, you're also giving up Ocean... Oh, wait. Okay, you do have the Stormbringer to try.
We'll see. Duan goes over the wall. He looks for the smite. He could
able.
have it, but he can't get it. His Castle does manage to be quicker on the fingers, secures himself that Baron, and all for one finishes off the kill on a Duan.
Yeah, just take a look at that replay. I mean, great enchanted crystal arrow once again, and I have to ask when Instant is gonna get a QSS for these Ashe ultis. Like, you're gonna keep eating them, and you don't have cleanse. Why not just pay the 1,300 gold tax? You're such a big deal, and you're getting caught out.
In the picture-in-picture, Ocean Soul gets secured for TA Black. Gonna make it much, much harder to be able to fight through here and to be able to outmatch the sustain that TA Black brings to the table.
So now you're down Soul and Baron buff. Objective bounties are on because one of these teams happens to have Soul, and that factors in quite a bit to that whole calculation dealio. Ambition Black, they're just going to be looking to really break open the base with this. You're going to be able to force your at will in at least one of these lanes. You still have that enchanted crystal arrow. It's going to be on a super low cooldown with the amount of haste that All for One has built. And realistically speaking, you might be able to toss it out a little over just every wave.
Yeah, definitely going to be able to clear out waves that way. But look at all the money that Mark Boots has gotten for himself. He's gotten so many multi-kills in this game. He's now 12, 3, and 6. Has the Magi's at 10 stacks. That's the breaking point that you want to be at. Gives you that additional movement speed. And with the addition of the Ocean Soul, it is just so hard for Michigan to take fights up against TA. They're also constantly at risk of getting picked by something like that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Gonna have to keep thick together, but also going to need to be able to respond quickly to things like this push in the top lane.
Split pushing is the counter game here. Is it enough? Because Baron buff is a hell of a drug. You're relying mostly on those Victor lasers coming on through.
Here's
Yeah,
the
this
lockdown
turret.
coming through on the castle. But decoys himself out, and he will be able to escape. The top turret now at about 1/3 HP. So now here comes Castle with the Baron buff, with the Yuumi at his back, looking for an engage opportunity. Mark Boots is on the side, looking for a potential engage. There's going to be the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Manages to shift out of the way this time. And now a stun on the Mark Boots gets an opportunity for some poke damage to land, but it's not that much, and it will just get sustained up by the Yuumi again. Yuumi switches targets, hopping onto Castle, who is looking for that Cyclone. Damage is pretty good onto the turret. Meanwhile, in the side lane, Orsees pushes back I Am Sam. Cannon Barrage gets thrown out.
Oh, only a quarter of the Enchanted Crystal Arrow cooldowns left over. It's going to be back up in a few seconds here, actually. So All for One could just go for that Hail Mary once again. It does land.
They land it. The cooldown is just too short. And that's going to be the lockdown on the instant to finish off that kill. Double comes through for Mark Boots. Teleport being channeled by Orsees to rejoin with the rest of the team. But already 2 members have dropped down. It's going to be a 4 versus 3, sieging onto the Nexus turrets. Soma comes up from the bottom, looking to group up, looking to try to challenge this 4-man squad of TA Black, but the chains land once again, and Soma's going to drop. Mark Boots goes legendary. Orsees finds himself a 1 versus 1 onto All for One, but the stolen away Volibear ultimate might give him the last bit of damage he needs. Castle finishes off Duan, and Orsees is now in a 1 versus 4, gets locked down, gets the shutdown onto I Am Sam, standing strong here, 1 versus 3, and this might be the end of TA Black's push. They can try to get themselves the mid lane inhibitor, but I don't know if they can end the game here, Go for Eno. Instant and Maximos are coming back up.
Yeah. Won't be able to end anymore. They do get one of the Nexus turrets as well as 2 inhibitors here on this push. They're just massive. Okay.
All right, the lockdown. That's actually a big turnaround from Orsees. He's carrying this fight all on his own, gets the double kill, turns it into not a triple, it gets stolen away by Instant. But the burst damage there from 50 HP melts through Mark Boots, gets himself a 1k gold shutdown, and takes off a whole bunch of Magi stacks while he's at it. There's another Enchanted Crystal Arrow. These ones are always landed onto Instant.
Yeah. Maybe Ezreal has a magnet in his gauntlet, who knows. But still got 25 seconds till those dead people do come back. Now we have Sam back on the Rift. But this might just be the game here if they're not able to clear this wave fast enough. Barrel does go, okay, Gangplank moment.
All right, there's going to be that Tempered Fate. Will lock down into I Am Sam, All for One, trying to keep his base safe. Will manage to fend them off with the volleys. Mark Boots and Turk respawn. Castle's here as well. TA Black keep their base safe. Have 2 inhibitors down, have a Nexus turret down. They'll have a solid shot at claiming that first seed. Looking to interrupt the recall, don't quite manage to get it.
Yeah. So we see 2 very close base defenses come on out here. This is the other one. I mean, late game Fiora. You're doing late game Fiora things, and even with Grievous wounds, that's a lot of goddamn healing. Do you have the Baron on the map once again? 30 seconds until that Elder is up. Castle, hot out.
Yeah, slows onto 2 targets. There's going to be Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Lands onto Orsees. Locks down that Fiora. Will be able to keep herself safe, though. Riposte not quite necessary when there's not really the follow-up available. Elder Dragon spawning in 10 seconds, though. These teams are going to want to brawl for this one. Let's see it. Maximo's stuck in base right now, clearing out waves. Does have the teleport. I Am Sam doing the same in the mid lane. Orsees jumps over the wall. Tempered Fate doesn't land on any key targets. They're going to focus down onto Orsees, but they just don't have the damage. Enchanted Crystal Arrow doesn't land, and Mark Boots gets shut down. Instant, very low on HP, but nobody's able to get on top of him. And Maximos with an excellent TP into the bottom lane finds himself a flank angle and takes out 2 targets. There's going to be Instant popping off in the fight. Finishes off on the Castle. I Am Sam going to drop as well, and that is a 5-for-1 ace for Michigan. They'll be able to close out this game, and they will be able to secure themselves the perfect 5-0 group stage.
Plenty of time on these death timers. It's a late game Fiora. It's also a late game Victor. It's just a matter of getting on top of these turrets.
Yeah, they got minions coming in. Duan's going to be here. Mark Boots is up in 10 seconds. could still be going on. They're actually losing so much HP on Duan. Mark Boots is coming up in 3 seconds. They've got to work their way through these turrets.
They got it.
2 of them drop, and they will be able to close out this game. Michigan finishes 5-0.
Michigan, the Fiora factor comes into play and brings them back in this game from what seemed like a somewhat assured defeat. Wasn't completely out of the ballpark, mind you, but the fact that you had 2 inhibitors down in facing that Ocean Soul, it's an uphill battle to say the least, Gordon. They're able to bring it back and keep their flawless record, series-wise at least.
Michigan won against Dragon Soul both games. They won. That's crazy performance from these guys in this series. Really solid games there, showing why they were undefeated coming into the night. They take 1 game loss, but they do secure themselves the perfect 5-0, and they will be going into the postseason as our number 1 seed. You check out this last fight once again. Look at the TP angle here from Victor.
And keep in mind, Sam isn't in this fight this entire time. It's just that cannon barrage. You're not able to get down those big old chunky barrels. It's just a wipe from here on out. Yes, you do get 1 barrel combo that actually one-shots World Soma. Thanks, Gangplank. Very cool. But that's just done and dusted.
Big comeback win for Michigan. So, with that said, that's going to do it for our Risen Divine League regular season go for Eno. The postseason bracket will be available once all of our matches tonight do complete. And then we're going to be back next week, I think next week, to start off this playoffs run. Going to be a whole bunch of fun. Going to be a double elimination bracket with our top 8 teams here, and is sure to result in some real fun series. We had a great couple last time around, going to all 5 games in the semis, going to all 5 games in the grand finals. Hoping we get some more of that this time around.
It definitely will be that, but with that being said, I think that's it for this broadcast from me and Caddy. Unless there's any final words you want to say.
No, that's going to do it. So from myself, Go for Eno, and Caddy on production, have yourselves a great night and great spending this best of 3 with y'all, and we will see you again sometime soon.